All right.
Yeah.
All right, cool, bro. Thanks for coming on, man.
Of course, brother.
All right, brother.
Let's do it.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Ongodd Podcast here in DFW, the heart of Texas, man, Dallas-Fort Worth. Brought to you by Super Sweets by Vince Chaco, and I'm going to be your host, Collin Steele, as you already know. Thanks again for tuning in, guys. I'm really excited for this one. I've got a really cool special guest of mine. It is one of my best friends, and for quite a while now, and got a lot of fun fucking stories.
Yeah.
And you've had an exciting, I would say, career chase so far. And I'd say something that is kind of prompting this podcast is you're interested in starting a, streaming content, and particularly in gaming and stuff.
Just content creation in general too. So video games is one of the big one. And then I wanted to do like vlogs and things like that. So like, just travel and capture a good life on video, and use it's more than just playing video games, in my opinion.
What's your name, real quick?
I am Taha Mirza.
Let's go, Taha Mirza.
Taha Mirza, easy peasy.
So gaming and streaming content in general, but gaming I think was like kind of like your primary, because you're good, man. You're pretty solid at it.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of where you're at. So I was really excited to have you come on because I wanted to be able to kind of promote you, as well as we're both kind of in this same area, I feel like, which is like content creation, right? And the attention economy. And I think that's where things going. So I'm excited to see how everything goes for you as your journey continues. But I wanted to bring you on to talk about that first of all. And plus, just because we're good friends, man, and we got a lot of fucking fun stories, a lot of history. And it's been an exciting ride since I moved here to the DFW. And since I moved here, man, you're definitely the closest friend, for sure, man. I got Andrew, I got Vince, I got Joe, I got a lot of cool connections, but and I can go on and on and on, but you're definitely one of the boys, bro. You're the
appreciate
homie,
that.
bro.
Let's go,
you know
dude.
what I'm saying,
I
bro?
appreciate that, and thanks for having me on, dude.
So Taha Mirza, you're not originally born and raised, but pretty much born and raised in the DFW area.
Yes.
Originally from
Pakistan.
Yeah. And when did you move to Dallas-Fort Worth?
When I was 4 years old.
So like super young.
Yeah.
Super young. You remember a little bit though.
A little bit, yeah. And I've gone back since, but it's been a while since I've made that travel. It's a very, very long flight.
Yeah.
And I'm good, you know what I mean? I don't want to do that.
I feel that. Yeah, the Europe flights are long enough for me. When you fly that, do you go reverse? Do you go through the Pacific over Asia?
No,
you take the Europe route too?
So pretty much one of the only ways that we were able to go affordably was to fly to New York first. So we would go to JFK, and then from there it would be one layover somewhere in Europe, and then it would be pretty much after that a straight shot into Pakistan. And the biggest reason for that is because New York is one of the only spots, I'm pretty sure, that hosts PIA, which is like the Pakistani International Airline.
Okay.
My parents actually that's how they met. They worked for PIA. And they obviously wanted me to fly on their planes because they just trusted them or whatever, their bias,
Oh, well, yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. I thought you were going to say because they wanted you to be like more cultured or something.
Oh, no. I mean, just traveling enough, I think will put some culture in your body.
No doubt. So then you grew up basically here in DFW, and I'm sure that was a fun time. But before I run through your life story, so what's going on with the content creation and the streaming and the gaming, and what are you thinking? Do you have any kind of like maybe games or any kind of specific ideas that you want to try? Because I wanted you to talk about that, because I think there's a lot of young people who maybe felt like they missed the bandwagon because of like COVID, and a lot of people jumped on then. Yeah. And so I think it's still a great industry, and there's so much going on, and everyone's trying to find their niche, and how can I get in here? And so like, what's going through your head? What have you been working on? And do you have any kind of like goals, deadlines? When do you think you're going to go live? When do you think what kind of content are you wanting to put out first initially, and where do you see yourself going from there?
Okay, so the first thing is games. I love Call of Duty.
Okay.
I've played Call of Duty since probably like 2007. So like I was in the 7th grade around that time.
Okay. Long time.
Yeah. So I've played every single one that's come out since then. There hasn't been a COD drop that I wasn't a part of. Mostly battle royales. We play a lot of Warzone. We play a lot of Fortnite. We play Fortnite now. I didn't play Fortnite as much when it first came out, just because of the building. I wasn't a big fan of that, but now that they've introduced the no build, I'm very much so enjoying my time playing that.
Shockingly, me too.
Yeah. And then I play like some other games too, RPGs. I don't know if I'm going to do too much content creation with that. I might, but there, it just doesn't seem.
I see people who do that and they're successful, but they don't get like the cult following or the big monetization like that a lot of these streamers, I mean, they seem to find like they're, whether it's, in GTA or, Call of Duty, Warzone, they seem to be more in these like intense gamings rather than, I think you can just like hang out and people love to laugh, but they're very dull watching like a
it's super casual gaming. Like when you watch content creators play Call of Duty or battle royales in general, it's super fast paced. Everyone's kind of freaking out and on the run and they're sweating, their palms are sweaty, everything's super crazy.
100%.
And then you either win or you lose. So it's like heartbreak or, you're just excited as hell.
And I feel like you get a lot of other ways to kind of like add value and monetize, which is, you get a good, you drop in on a new weapon or something, and there's ways to create these shorts, right?
Absolutely.
Where you can kind of do clips, and whether it's like, here's the weapon, here's the build, like I got a great freaking killing spree with this particular build, and then you just make you clip videos from that, and then you make your own clip of like, I see this happening all the time. It's like, here's what I use, here's my attachments, and so it seems like there's all these compounding avenues for something more specific like this, rather than just, watching one guy with their face, like, and their RPG character just kind of like walking through the field, and then eventually
side quest after side quest.
Yeah, you got to be, I think, a particular type of person, really entertaining, and people are eventually going to start liking you for who you are. But there's so much more, I think, in this realm that you're talking about, where you can like do like compounding types of things, where it's like you can do joint streaming with like other people, and stuff like that. So
I also don't want to stream every game, because then I feel like it would take away from the joy that I have from playing games when it becomes like, when every game is a job. That's kind of when like I want to avoid that, right? I still want to enjoy my time playing video games and doing these things, because video games was one of my favorite pastimes since I was, one of my very first memories ever was playing video games with my parents. I had a Sega Saturn, which was cool. One of the that was my very first gaming console.
Wow. So you actually linked this back up to like good family time and stuff. That's cool. I dig that.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't really, I guess maybe I knew that, but I didn't really know that.
Dude, growing up, my mom and my dad got me a Nintendo 64, and on there they had a Star Wars pod racing game.
Oh, I remember.
Yeah, my mom would whoop my ass in that game every time. I don't know how. Like, I don't understand, or there was no rhyme or reason behind it. She was just good.
Yeah.
It was like that natural raw talent that you just like, you gotta whoop your kid's ass sometimes.
Man, that takes me back to like the we would play N64 and like Super Smash Brothers back in my
dude. That was like one of the best games.
Just get
one of the
best
games.
Rage and like play that till like 2-3 a.m. in the morning. Good times, man. Good times. So I see where you're trying to go. As someone who's kind of been watching you and supporting you, I definitely think that one thing that's kind of held you back is you don't have a lot of people to partner with who are like at your skill level. Like, you're pretty good.
Yeah.
And it's like, maybe there's a few, like, I'm okay, but I'm decently okay. But I say wild things, so I'm kind of a wild card. But then you have like Alex, who's pretty good too, but it's like, he's not
can't have that man on stream.
Friendly.
Yeah, can't have that man on stream. He's a liability.
So you've got that. You've got which is like trying to filter out all of those things on top of you need them to be really good, like at least at your skill level.
At least, if not better, Right. I would say that's one of the biggest holdbacks is like, if I'm dead, then we've pretty much lost the game, and that's kind of where like it's not like annoying, because I love playing with my boys, but it's like I want to win more. And to most of the homies, it's like it's just a game.
It's just a game.
And for me, it's like I'm trying to make a career out of this. So that's one of the things that I think frustrates me the most about this. But
and quads hits just differently on Warzone.
It really does, man.
Bro.
It really does.
If you get like a solid crew together,
solid one, bro. Warzone 1 was so fun when we had all the guys.
Yeah, and so Warzone 2, I was so upset with it at first, but it does seem, I get like some people like, oh, it's more tactical, blah, blah, blah. I get it. Some of the heart feels like it's not there though, like the heart and soul, but I still think that I'm excited for the new rebirth to come out.
I am.
That's gonna be sick.
That's gonna be good. Hopefully, I agree with you on that. I think that it was a problem that they changed a lot of the things that weren't broken in Warzone 1. Right, we had a few complaints that weren't that hard of fixes, and they didn't need to gut it and remake it. You know, if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Right.
So I don't understand their thinking behind that, but I mean, it is what it is, you know. But I do think that, you know, with season 2 coming with Warzone 2, it's gonna make or break it, right? Like if they don't fix some of the issues that people have been complaining about, especially these really big content creators who, you know, have 30K views, 30K, you know, it's like that's a lot of views at a time on one video.
Yeah.
And especially if they're just talking shit about Activision, you know, it's kind of a problem.
It puts a lot of these platforms and these which obviously partner with all of these, like, you know, content platforms like YouTube and stuff, right? So it puts them in a predicament, I think, where it's like these are their you know, their cash cows, right? And so these players are generating so much like content and exposure, and they drive people to the game, you know. And so it's like free advertising, it's like all these things, it's promotion, right? It's like extreme promotion, right? So I'm sure they feel to some type of way compelled to try to like keep them happy, right? Otherwise, if you have too many people fall off, right? Two of these big streamers, for example, they have such a cult following. So like, they'll take them with them. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Like Aiden Ross just got dipped
banned
off
from Twitch.
Yeah, from Twitch, right? I was talking about that with another friend, and that's interesting, you know. So he got banned, and
well, Twitch is doing everything wrong right now too.
Yeah.
You know, they lost a couple like really big streamers, Swag and Tim the Tatman, both switched over to YouTube.
Was it KSI that got banned? Like there was a bunch
KSI
of
got banned. A bunch of people got banned, and you can see it. You know, like they do these things like you know, they'll ban you and not tell you what you did wrong. They won't show you a clip of what happened. You just get banned, and then that's it. You can't make money anymore. And it's like, okay, the same
livelihood.
Exactly. The same thing happened with one of the biggest streamers ever, was Dr. Disrespect. And one day he was just gone from Twitch, and he still hasn't come out and said anything, but he said that he was suing them, and like all these things were happening. It's like, you know, how are you gonna take away from, like, that's your money right there. Like, you're making money because
Who's
of this
gonna
guy.
open that app if like those people leave?
Exactly. And so it makes me feel bad for the content creators who are stuck there under contract right now, because I know there's a handful of them that are like wanting to get out, but they can't because they've signed papers saying like, I'll be with you for 5-10 years. Yeah.
That long?
Yeah, I mean, Nick Merckx just signed the biggest Twitch deal ever for like, I think it was like 30 million or something like that, like something crazy.
Man, that's dangerous. I don't know that I would ever want to put golden handcuffs on to a content platform like that.
Yeah, and kind of signing your life
Are
away
they
a little
not
bit.
allowed to stream on any other platform?
Correct.
Oh.
They can only upload videos. So like if you're a Twitch partner, then you can't stream on YouTube, but you can like upload content on YouTube.
See, and Twitch is kind of dying, and I'm not on Twitch, and I don't game like you. I stay up to date a little bit for the sake of stuff like this, and that's about it though, you know. So, and even I know, like, they're doing something, like you said, they're doing some things wrong.
Yeah, it just seems shady. You know, it just seems shady. They don't pay as much as YouTube does when it comes to streaming. I think it's they take 50% of your earnings, and YouTube only takes 30%. So it's like,
right, there's a better deal.
right. Like, why would you even do that? The one thing I will say about Twitch that I did like was that when you start streaming on Twitch, they have a platform that kind of tracks your progress for you. And so it's very easy to go on there and be like, exactly. And so it's like, oh, on this day I had this many viewers, you know. And when you first start out, I think a lot of people think that, you know, it's you'll get 10, 20, 30 views in the first couple of days. Like, no. You're gonna be streaming to no one,
right?
And you're gonna be talking to yourself,
right, for
hours in a day, and you're gonna just try your best to get content and try your best to.
A lot of this is like that.
Exactly, and so like people get discouraged by that. You know, it's like, I've been streaming to 0 people for the past 2 weeks, and it's like, yeah, but you know, as long as you're getting content from it, who fucking cares?
That's exactly my approach here, right? You know, I was watching a video by Mr. Beast, and he said, you know, until you have 100 videos up, right, you shouldn't even be worried about views, right? You know, my expectation is I will be posting my 100th video before I get my first view.
Sure.
That's the expectation I'm going with, because I'm not going to, you know, I'm just going to rev, right? And I don't want to discourage myself, you know. And And it seems to me like, you either grow slowly and it's going to take a long time, or you still probably grow slowly and then eventually you get some kind of viral moments or some clips, and then it ties it back to the original video or whatever. And then all of a sudden you start gaining popularity and the algorithm supports you as more people. There's the compounding effect because of these algorithms. But yeah, so do you think, what platforms are you thinking? Are you going to do Twitch at all? No. What are you going to do? YouTube, and then is that it?
Yeah.
Just YouTube?
For streaming and bigger uploads, yes.
What are your other options even?
TikTok and Twitter and all that stuff.
Does TikTok pay?
Yeah, they have a creator fund.
They have a creator fund?
I think pretty much everything has a creator fund. You can monetize. Yeah, you can monetize. You can monetize a tweet.
What Twitter? You said?
Yeah, I'm probably not gonna I'll probably post clips, but I think the biggest way to gain a following, especially right now, because think about how many people are on TikTok. Quite a few million. You know what I mean? And they're constantly just scrolling.
Is it like YouTube though, where it's like you can have millions of views on a single video kind of thing? Oh, is it? It's that big? Okay.
Yeah.
Because I imagine there's hundreds of millions on YouTube.
Yeah, sure.
If not, maybe getting near 1 billion or 2 or 3. I don't know.
YouTube's huge, so
YouTube's
I couldn't
huge.
Imagine. I know it's banned in a couple of countries just because they don't want you watching some of the things that are on there, but it's but shorts and TikToks are just it's such easy content in my opinion, because it's 30-second clips. You know what I mean? You don't have to do anything more. I know TikTok you can go up to 3 minutes or something like that, but 30 seconds, you can get that from 2 hours of
for the
gameplay.
Younger generation too. I think if you're going to capture their attention, you can't do until they're maybe a little. And not all. I know there are some young people in long form content but there's clearly a market for long form content in my opinion. I agree. Podcasts and stuff. Otherwise, I wouldn't be wasting.
Right.
I wouldn't. I want to be able to add value, and if I thought there was no way to add value doing this, I wouldn't do it. But I definitely think for what you're talking about, that it's more like gotcha content. It's very quick.
Cool. The video, make sure you hit that heart real quick. You know what I mean? Exactly. Like my video and subscribe and ring the bell.
Exactly. So do you think you're gonna? Is that what you're working on right now?
I'm mostly working on short form content. I would kind of just want to spam my TikTok and my Twitter with just some random stuff. I do have an Instagram as well, but I'm going to use that more for escapades and stuff like that. Like doing tournaments. I want to do special videos and stuff like that. That would be strictly for Instagram. TikTok is going to be kind of like my haha content, whatever. I'm going to try, but it's I don't want it to be anything too serious. Sure. And then Twitter is just pretty much just going to be me letting people know I'm live. Hey, I'm going live at this time. Come check it out.
Here I am. Yeah. Please watch.
Yeah.
So do you think you're going to do it on Call of Duty Warzone, or what is your, do you feel like you kind of have to find a particular game to kind of anchor yourself into?
Yeah.
Are you kind of struggling there?
Yeah, just because I haven't been playing Warzone 2 as much, I haven't really enjoyed my time as much as I did on Warzone 1.
Yeah.
But I guess we'll see how that goes with Season 2. I still like to play it. It's not like I don't enjoy playing Call of Duty, but it
doesn't quite hit like it used to.
It just doesn't quite hit like it used to, man. If I snipe you in the face, I should be able to kill you. You know what I mean? That's my biggest thing. That's my biggest thing. Just fix the sniper rifles. Or have weapon balance, or do any of the things that you said you were going to do when the game was coming out.
And as someone who's a less experienced player, I've played for a while, but I'm not competitive or anything like that, right? I'm not even that good. I'm all right. I'm good enough to have on the team and a support player, I would say. I'm a competent support player. And I'm fun and I say wild shit, and so I'm entertaining. And I do know how to play the game. There's some people who just suck.
Yeah.
But coming from someone who's kind of at that type of skill level, it's definitely not what it used to be on Warzone 1. It's way harder. And I can, tactically I can be great. I can have good movement and I can know how to move through a building and scope people out and all these things, right? And be very tactical on how I move and gain, good positioning and all those things, right? But, if my aim's not the best and I have to hit you 5 times with a sniper rifle to down you,
it's kind of a problem.
What?
And then they say that they're going for realism and realistic gameplay, and it's what are you talking about?
Crazy, dude.
Who are you listening to? I shot that guy
3 times with my sniper, and he just
in the
ducked
face.
Down.
It's
in the chest. Yeah. Or maybe not the face consistently, but it's and now he's played it back up, and it's now my location's disclosed, and my efforts were for nothing, and it's I miss that. I think I miss being able to drop. the occasional like really solid shot just drops them, and you can reliably count on it.
Absolutely.
You know.
Yep. So yeah, Call of Duty more than likely, but I mean, I'm probably gonna do Fortnite as well.
Okay.
I know that Fortnite has a good following, and it hasn't died out, and they're actually doing things right in my opinion. I mean, every season that they do, it's something good. You know, there's hasn't been too many things where I was like, oh, that's broken in the game. You know, like they need to fix this.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if it's because of it's a younger crowd that it's probably got to do with the way they make their money, right? And so their pathway forward, which I appreciate too, which is skins and all that, right?
Yeah,
and,
free game, but buy cool stuff if you want it.
But with Call of Duty, it's like you're constantly having to buy like the next game, and they're like, you know, although like operator skins are really cool, and I'm sure they do make some money off the weapons and operator skins, it seems like, you know, they're going to continually roll out these games and force you to buy them.
Absolutely.
That's just inevitable.
I mean, they've already said that they were supposed to Warzone or Modern Warfare 2 was not, there wasn't supposed to be a new Call of Duty game. It was just going to be an add-on to Modern Warfare 2, and you were still going to have to pay full price for it.
Yeah.
And then they scrapped that because everyone was like, no, we don't want that.
Right.
And now they're like, oh, okay, you're getting a new Call of Duty next year. And it's like, yeah, that's what we fucking thought. But even still, it's like, yeah, but now I have to spend $60-$70 on a game again. You know, it's like, damn, bro.
So what's your gamer tag, bro?
Tahablast.
Tahablast.
Yeah, Tahablast,
I like
dude.
that.
That was actually a nickname given to me back when I was in high school. I was a skateboarder, and we used to, every day after school, we would just get together and we would go skate, and there was a Taco Bell, and I would always get a Baja Blast. And
Let's
this
go,
dude,
bro. I was going to say, I think of Mountain Dew Baja Blast.
This dude, I wasn't even that good friends with him. His name was Travis. He was like, Taha Blast, like Baja Blast. And I don't know why, but like it stuck. It stuck.
It's always those that do. Yeah,
it's like,
it's always,
okay.
You don't, like, everyone wants to like give themselves a cool name, and it never sticks like that. It's always the ones that you're like, and it's not always the best ones, but I think that's a dope name though.
Yeah, so I mean, I like it now, but it's like, I wish I could find him and be like, hey bro, I don't know if you remember me, but a long time ago you made my gamer tag. Who would have thought I was using it 15
I got a
years
percent
later.
and a half waiting on you when I go big.
Yeah,
buddy.
oh my God.
Yeah.
On God.
On God. Let's go, bro.
Yeah. So video games is the one for the most part. But like I think my end goal overall, and like one of my biggest goals, is to like I want to start a community of people that are like minded. You know, I want to find people who enjoy playing video games, who like to watch, and it's not like I'm like the #1 ranked Call of Duty Warzone player in the world. You know, I'm super average.
Yeah.
But I think that most people are
like
too.
a skilled average player.
Yeah, but it's like most people are average, right? And I think it's a little disheartening when you watch these players that get 30 kill games every single game, and they're always winning a game of. We go weeks without winning a game. You know, it's just like sometimes it happens, and we're real bad sometimes.
We don't play that much.
We don't play that much, yeah. So it's like,
I think there's a give and take too, and as this takes off for you, and you're able to give more time to it, I think there's going to be this shift in balance of like
for sure
skill level. Because I mean, if you're a genetically gifted athlete, but you only work out once a week, you know, you're not going to look right. You're not going to be that impressive, right? And so you're so limited on your time, having to hold down like a full-time job, blah, blah, blah. And a lot of people I think can relate to that. That as you burn the midnight oil and you put in all this extra time, eventually you'll be able to go, okay, hey, I'm generating some money here. I can supplement and give myself more time to this.
Maybe take a couple extra hours off of work each week and then focus that time and energy.
Go to part-time or get a part-time job or whatever, right? So I think there's a lot of options there. And as you get to, the level of these other creators, as start rising, you're going to start being able to afford yourself, but I do think at some point you have to just grind it out, you just
for sure.
The extra time in. Yeah, and so I mean, you got a full-time job, you got a family, you got a wife, you got a daughter.
Yep.
Your daughter, by the way, congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah,
she's turning 9 months old.
Yeah, it should be 9 months in like 2 weeks.
Let's go, bro.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe one day she's like gaming with her friends and like got this like playing in the background. Like
that'd be cool. Yeah,
my dad's on a podcast.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Right? Look at Uncle Collin.
Yeah, that'd be cool, man. I'll bring her in every once in a while and just kind of like sit her down on my computer and like I'll like play with her in my lap, and she loves it. She thinks it's the funniest thing.
Yeah.
But she gets a little overwhelmed because I have a lot of lights. And,
yeah.
It's kind of a lot for a baby. Yeah, it's a lot for a baby.
I get it.
But yeah, man, it's good, man. Being a dad is hard, and working a full-time job and then also trying to work on content creation is hard. Yeah. It's hard to disperse the time out. You only get so many hours in a day, and I still need to sleep sometimes.
I'm sure there's so many people who are trying to do what you're doing and they're dealing with that exact, they got a wife or, you know, a girlfriend and a kid. And then, you know, it's like, I still have to fucking pay bills and stuff.
I gotta work.
You know? I gotta work. So yeah, no doubt. So, all right, let's change gears a little bit, man. How did we meet, bro? You remember when we met, bro?
Yeah, I do actually.
What you always? I feel like we always get our stories different, though.
No. I remember like it was yesterday.
Okay.
So I met you first at Andrew's old apartment in Irving.
Was that the first time we officially? Okay. So
it wasn't my birthday though. It was not my birthday.
It was Andrew's birthday.
No. It was Excision. It was the concert that we went to go see Excision.
Kind of like pre-party.
Yeah, we were pre-partying, and you were talking to.
Wait, did we go to Excision that night?
Yeah.
Oh man.
And the only reason I remember this is because we get to Excision, and I had totally forgotten about you. Like I didn't. All I remember was me and Andrew and Darius and Lauren all got a drink and we're standing in a circle, and your fucking ass just comes running in and jumps in the middle of the circle, and I pushed you out. I'm like, who the fuck was that? And Andrew goes, that's Collin, bro. That's Jesse's dude. And I was like, oh. And then I was like, oh man, now I feel bad.
I don't even remember it.
Yeah, I was like, oh man, now I feel bad.
We raged that night too.
Yeah.
On like one of those metal gated fences.
Yeah.
And made some dude Snapchat, I remember.
Yeah. So that was a crazy concert.
That was a cool time. That was a fun time in my life because I was in such like comparatively now, maybe like materialistically or financially, I was not where I'm at. But I felt, you know, like I was in such a wild place in my life. Like anything could happen. It was like crazy. And I was like, you know, talking to Jessie and she's gorgeous. And like, I'm just, you know, I'm trying to, the energy was always on fire.
Yeah.
And so that was an exciting time, man. I look back and I miss a little bit of that. It was fun. But yeah, no, I remember that party a little bit, and you know, I think I came across as maybe cocky, and I remember like sitting down and Jessie was sat on my lap at one point, and I could tell I was like, oh, I gave that impression of like, who the fuck is this guy? Like, you know, and so, but that's kind of how I moved then, you know. Yeah. I retained some of that, but I've tried to be a little more reserved and a little more maybe humble, I guess is the right word. Yeah. But more maturity has kind of mellowed me out a little bit. But I do remember, one, I got you lit. And two...
That was my birthday, yeah.
And two...
You ruined my night.
And two, you, towards the end of the party, you kind of was like, we're all vibing. And you were like, hey, man, can I talk to you? And you took me outside onto like the breezeway balcony type of thing where the stairs are. And it was just you and me. We had like a kind of like a heart-to-heart. And you were like, hey, man, you know... I feel, you know, you look like you got your shit together, you know, and you were like, you know, I need more people like you in my life, man. And that, you know, I have such a heart for like, you know, whether it's just like finding like-minded people, mentoring, you know, building like a squad. You know, that's such a big goal of mine is I really want to just build this like elite team of fucking killers, you know, and so I'm always looking for someone who has like potential or has the right mindset. And so I immediately was like, wow, like, you know, a light went on and I was like, all right, there might be something here, right? And that was a cool conversation, man. Yeah. It was a cool conversation. Yeah, it takes a lot of like, you know, courage to go like, you know, to go ask for help or maybe even just recognize like, hey man, you've got some things to offer, you know, like I could maybe learn or something, whatever, right? You know, and it was really cool, man. You earned a lot of respect from me then.
Hey, that's cool. Yeah, that was a weird, that was a pretty weird moment of my life because I didn't really know, like I was pretty directionless at that time. I didn't really know what the next move was going to go. Yeah. I don't know that I was even working at the time. I think I had just quit Dave & Buster's at that time, and like me and Lauren were on and off. It was super weird, you know, like, looking back at it, it's like a big blur because it was just like a couple of years of just kind of like being lazy and being a little piece of shit and not doing nothing. Yeah. Just like playing video games all day and night and not even like that's all I did. You know, I just like played video games and got stoned. And
it's cool for me because, you know, we clicked so well, right? We would have like a lot of cool fun car drives, smoking and listening to music, vibing and just, you know, cracking jokes and shit. And we immediately like clicked. You know, and so we were boys pretty quick. Mm-hmm. But you had kind of a younger, like I saw the flame, right? You know, and I had a conversation with Joseph about this last episode, which is like, you know, I asked him, do you think like you can help someone develop drive an ambition? Or do you think like people either have that flame or not, and like you have to find someone with that flame already? Like ember has to be there. You can fan it, but add fuel to the fire. But if the fire's not there, you're spinning your wheels. You can't, And so I don't know necessarily what is true or not true, but I know in that moment, in that early on, as we were becoming friends, I was like, this guy's got some hunger, man. Like I could recognize,
Yeah.
But it was really cool for me because you have matured so much. And so, it was like, what do you want to do, Taha? Oh, I want to be a DJ. And it's like everyone and their mama wants to be a DJ, And so, like you said, directionless. And it was cool watching you grow from there to where you are now. I mean, from like meeting you at Starbucks as helping you on a resume and very much feeling, not in a disrespectful way, but feeling like we were in very different like maturity places in our life. And seeing you grow to such a degree that you have, man. I mean, in many ways, not that it's like a competition, but measuring, I would say, like a family, for example, you've surpassed me. I don't have family yet. One day, if I'm blessed enough to have a wife and kids, I would like that. But, I don't have those things yet. And you do, which is cool. And I'm proud of you, man.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
It's badass.
I'm not gonna lie. I didn't think that I'd be here. Like, at least in this capacity, like, being a husband, being a father.
What did you think?
Well, technically, I owe Andrew $1,000 because I thought I would never get married or have kids.
Really?
And I bet him money when I was like 19.
I figured you were going to say like you thought you'd be dead or something.
No, maybe, but like I think jail probably would have been a more realistic thing to happen because I was a dumb fucking kid. Like we got in a lot of trouble growing up.
You weren't dumb, like in the sense of intelligence. You were smart. I can tell you were even smart when you were younger.
Yeah, I just did dumb things. Destructive.
You were destructive.
I was rebellious.
We're not going to get into why, but I mean, I think trauma, I think, shit you've gone through, it can lead to destructive behavior. And so, you had that. I reckon, but you were. I don't think I could have walked into your life at a more optimum time where you were in this like you were kind of like on the fence,
right?
And I could tell, like I could see the chaos on the other side of the fence, and then you were kind of like, hey man, like I'd like to get my shit together. And
literally, dude. I remember like talking to Lauren about it a little bit later, and I was like, man, I don't know what it is about Collin, but like, I think he can help me, like just maybe get a job or like figure it the fuck out, even if he like doesn't get me a job, like maybe just help me to do it right for once.
Yeah.
And that led me to get the job at AMC, which was my longest job.
Right.
I progressed within that company very quickly.
I mean, dude, yeah, you worked your way up the ladder all the way to the friggin' basically right under GM, like the highest position you get to before you're waiting on someone to die, or quit, or which was very impressive, man.
I appreciate that.
Impressive.
Yeah, it was.
You worked your ass off.
I sure did, dude. I mean, there was weeks where I was working like 70 hours. You know, like 10 hours a day, 7 days a week, 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. It was like I was making a lot of money, and it was nice. I was able to do things that I had never been able to do. I was able to support, my dad. I was able to support Lauren when she had her surgery. I was able to help a lot of people out, and I think that alone kind of grew me more in like a heartfelt way. Like it made like kind of like the Grinch, like my heart grew a few sizes just because I was able to do more for other people instead of having people do things for me. Right. I, for the first time in my life, I wasn't dependent on anyone, but I did have people depending on me to like keep my shit together and figure it out,
Yeah, it's been really cool to watch your perspective shift and grow because, you would say things early on like, you meet a lot of young people who maybe are on the struggle bus or they don't, have a lot of money yet and they haven't really like figured it out. And so, one of the things that you would say that I would hear a lot is like, oh, I don't want that much money. I don't need money. That's for, money won't buy you happiness. Right. And so, I think like all the things you just said, paying for your dad's surgery, helping out with the family, all these things, right? These things, money is just a tool. And so people have this like stigma about money, that it's like for evil people, like rich people are evil and like yada, yada, yada. And so I watched that perception shift, kind of like, money's not going to necessarily make you happy. I think wealthy people can like enjoy themselves very well though,
Yeah.
But, yeah, no, I mean, I watched that grow and, like the DJ comment you made too, which was, and I was very patient with you. A lot of people I'm not as patient with. Like, I was very practical with you. And a lot of people say that and I'm like, you're dumb. You know, you're unreasonable. This is an unreasonable goal.
Right.
I hope you make it, but like, this is stupid, right? And so with you, you know, it was like, oh, I want to be a DJ. And I was like, and we're like into the EDM scene, the club scene, and the bar scene, and the music venue scene, and we're going out all the time. And of course, yeah, and every other young guy there, you know, that is jobless or, you know, dating some girl and, you know, just wants clout or whatever, they're like, I'm going to be a DJ, you know, or I'm going to be a rapper, right? And it's like, and I kind of just roll my eyes, right? And so with you, you know, I was patient. And I was like, all right, cool, prove it to me, you know? So I patiently, for many, many months, would come over and smoke and hang out. And then it's like, hey, show me your, you know, like, what have you written? Oh, you haven't written anything, okay. Like, all right. And then I think I sat down with you one night at you and your dad's apartment, and I was like, listen, man, I think it's been a few months. And I think I was very brutal, you know, but I paced myself, like, because I'd just been like wanting to say this from the rip, you know? And so I finally was just like, listen, man, if you were going to be a DJ, you know, if you were you know, you would be passionate. There would be evidence, right? You know, you would have written a few songs. You would have composed a few, you know, beats. Like, there'd be something, right? And it's like, where is it? And I know that like hurt to hear, but that's where you really like put your head down and was like, you know, asked me to start meeting you at like Starbucks's, and we worked on your resume, and like, dude, it was like barely, you know, just a little push for me, and then you were fucking gone, man.
Yeah. That like I said, I mean, that was a very strange period of my life, and you know, it's like, but that prepared me for so much more now, because it's like now when I feel like stagnant, and I know what I need to do, right? Like I need to put my head down, I need to grind towards whatever goals it is that I have for that time. And now it's like I have better long-term and more realistic goals than being a fucking EDM DJ. So yeah.
I'm so proud. I'm so proud.
I mean, this isn't that far-fetched either. You know, it's like there's not a whole lot of people that make it doing content creation.
Yeah, but I think you're passionate about it and you're putting in energy and effort. I can already look and go like, what have you done? It's like you've built like a hammer of a PC.
Yeah.
You know, you've bought, you know, the tools you need. You know, the software. And you know, you're starting to record and save and edit the content. You know, you've designed your you've already, you know, picked out your platforms and created like profiles or channels or whatever. And so it's like there is all of this evidence, and I can tell like this is something you like your heart's really set on.
Yeah.
And it would be dope to be able to generate money and provide for your family and yourself while doing something that like is like kind of badass.
Yeah,
you
a
know?
passion, a hobby.
Cool, passion.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, it'd be cool.
I also think it'd be great to like be my own boss, not have to go into an office every day.
This is why I'm doing this, bro. I mean, yeah, 100%. 100%.
But like the aspect of a big community always appealed me to about this. Like, what really got me into it was one day when Warzone 1 had first come out back in like 2019. I was at work one day and I was like, I'm gonna watch some YouTube videos about like cool guns to use. I don't know what to use. And I found Tim the Tap Man.
Oh yeah.
And ever since then, it's been just like, he's been like my go-to streamer, and that's all I watch on YouTube now. It's like Tim the Tap Man videos, Warzone 2 videos. And
he does a good job too. Like his content is entertaining.
It is.
He's not just like the best one on his team. He's a seriously competent player.
I think that's what makes it so much more real for me too, is that a lot of content creators, their lines, their like little tags is like #1 ranked Call of Duty player, you know, best Call of Duty player, best female Warzone Call of Duty player. It's like, I'm not gonna ever claim that unless I like win it for real. But like he's honest about it. He's like, you know, I'm not the best, and I'm dumb, and I've died of fall damage every time I play. But I can get dubs. Yeah, I can get some dubs.
It's also like an attainable goal, right? And I think he gives like, you know, someone like that, or maybe yourself, you'd be able to add value and entertainment in a way that someone could still go like, I could aspire to be that thing, right? Like some of these guys, J God, or you know, who's that other guy I like so much? He's fast. Jowo. Yeah, the movement god.
The movement god.
It's like
he earned that title. Though.
Okay, no. I'm not
he earned that
my
title,
point is they're so good, right? All these guys that you were talking about earlier, you know, some of these guys are so good. It's like I'm probably never
right.
Like,
you have to, and like these dudes, like they play 8, 10, 12 hours a day,
no doubt,
all day, every day, and it's like No wonder you're fucking good at it.
Like
I'd be upset if like I'd be really mad if I played a game or anything. If I did anything for that amount of time and I sucked at it still, like dude, just give up at that point. Like it's not worth it.
100%. The thing that hurts me the most, and that's something I'm gonna really struggle. Like I'm having to like, you know, even now, as unfiltered as a lot of the topics we're gonna talk about, like I can't really crack the out, like I'll just say wild off the wall shit, you know that, right? We all like, and we'll just make, I mean, whatever, right? Inappropriate jokes, and they're the best, bro. They're the best, and it's like YouTube will pull this down if I say that. You know? It's like, dude, it sucks, man. I can't be. I'm being genuine about what I can show, about what I am showing, but I can't show the larger portion of me that I would like to, man. And like, you know, those jokes are funny, man. And you know, it's like, you know, we're all friends, man, and you know, it's never like a mean thing. It's like fun,
right?
You know?
It's a joke, right? Like, I think it's always really funny when people get mad at comedians for like jokes that they tell, right? And it's like, it's a joke. Like,
but Andrew Schultz is a great example, right? Like his last stand up, like it hit so hard, but it's so inappropriate.
Yeah, for sure.
It's funny, man. That's what humor is. And it feels like these platforms are going to just all slowly die out because of this need to censor and censor and censor. And eventually it's like, well, this new word you can't say, and now this new word you can't say. And it's like, you know, I think Joe Rogan's talked about this a lot. It's called the, oh my God, it's called the something clown. And basically in some of these Native American tribes, the Sacred Clown, that's what it's called, so it's a book called The Sacred Crown, right? And so in these Native American tribes, I think it was Native American tribes, they would have like a person, and their job was to like make fun of stuff, right?
Cool.
And if something ever got to a place where you weren't allowed to make fun of it, that was an issue. That's not okay, right? And so it's like nothing isn't too sacred to be made fun of, right? And so like that was like, and that's what comedy is. You know, and these jokes.
It's no holes barred,
right?
It should be at least.
It should be, right? You know, and so it's like we're so hypocritical as a country too, because like it's like we can make fun of Jesus Christ, but you can't make fun of, you know, LGBTQZ 3242, you know, LMW, right? And it's not that I necessarily want to make fun of that particular group for any reason more than I want to make fun of any other group, but it's like we should all be able to just crack jokes on each other and shit on each other.
I agree with that.
And it not be taken as like, you've attacked me, you know?
Right.
Words hurt people.
I think there's a lot of like sensitive people out there, and it's like, you know, my goal, it's never been to offend anyone, right? Like I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. I think overall, genuinely, I'm a pretty nice person. Like I do like roast my friends and stuff.
Dude, you roast people. What are you talking about?
My good friends.
Of course. Dude, savagely. Like, and I'll die, right? Like, and sometimes it's like, damn, that kind of hurts my feelings, but it's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, you know, Andrew, when you watch this, I apologize for yelling at you in Call of Duty. I love you, bro.
Yeah, that dude's your little squeaky toy that you squeeze when you're pissed off. You're just
it's because it's so easy to blame shit on him whenever things go wrong in a Call of Duty. I'm like, what the fuck are we doing? But man,
you shit on that man, bro.
Even my wife said something about it. She was like, you're kind of mean to him sometimes. And I'm like, look, like if he had a real problem with it, I'm sure he would have said something by now.
I think sometimes you push him a little far, and he does say something. And I think he's got work to do on himself, and he's going to develop himself more and more, and eventually he'll be the guy that you don't necessarily naturally just shit on as much,
right?
Like he'll just develop himself to a person that, you know. But I think just like the Sacred Crown comment, right? It's like you gotta be able to take a fucking joke, man.
Yeah,
you know.
I agree.
If you can't take a joke, man, I think you're a bitch. You know, it's bitch energy, right? And so, you know, I think God, is that, see, like this might even get this video pulled down. I don't even know what I'm allowed to say and not say.
I think you're good.
I think I'm good.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So yeah, no, it's I definitely think that that's something that I'm trying to wrap my mind around as we move forward, since we're both trying to do content creation.
I think as much as it sucks too, it's like, you know, it's a part of the job, you know, and it's and it does suck not being able to say anything that you want to say. It's like obviously there's limits to what you should be allowed to say on these things, but
yeah, I mean, you can't incite violence, or document.
Yeah, and it's like I agree with that stuff, and it's like, but it is like it's just a part of the job, and I think every job has those things that we don't necessarily agree with, but we have to adhere to.
A lot of it's already covered by the law. You know,
Right.
like you can't, you know, incite violence.
Sure.
You can't threaten to like, you know, murder someone or something. You know, these are things you're not like, you know, you can't do that. I understand with like doxing, I don't think that's necessarily covered in the law, but I mean, I don't have a problem with that. You know, you shouldn't be able to like,
Right.
like, you know, give up. You're like a 13-year-old kid or something. You
Fucking
should be able to,
swat
like,
somebody.
show up to his house.
Like
and,
that,
you know, you shouldn't be able to do those
that's a
things.
crazy occurrence too. And that's actually a fear of mine, is getting swatted. You know what that is?
No, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of the, well, I mean, it seems like it's the more conservative side of the content creators too. I mean, I haven't heard of a lot of like progressive liberals
Like
being
pretty much
swatted.
like, I mean, dude,
Aiden Ross is the first one who comes to mind as of recently, as he's gotten on the Andrew Tate.
there's this girl who recently got swatted, Nadia. She's like she's another one of those number one ranked best female Warzone player.
Oh,
yeah.
why'd she get swatted?
Everyone, so when she got big, she actually blew up really fucking fast, dude.
Was she the one that everyone was saying was cheating
Yes.
or something? Okay, I know
and she fucking banked on that shit, bro. It was,
Yeah.
I was like, I didn't like her content at first, and I really only started following, like watching her videos to see if she was actually cheating or not. And once I realized she was just good, and I realized what she was doing, she was making videos where she would purposefully make it look like she was cheating.
in
like,
order to get
yeah,
content.
every single person was like, "Oh my god, you're a cheater!" commenting under every video of hers. She was getting thousands and thousands of comments, even though they were bad. And like people were like,
such thing as
"Fuck you!"
bad publicity.
Right, dude.
Yeah.
She banked on it, and now she's like living at at like the Nuke Squad house with like a bunch of like really good Call of Duty
Clearly
players.
she's good.
Yeah,
Yeah, clearly she's
yeah,
good.
dude.
Yeah.
So I thought that was funny. It's like you're gonna talk shit, and I'm gonna monetize that shit.
Those are kind of like real strategic as you move into any industry. You know, you got to be. I'm rereading the 48 Laws of Power, and it you know it teaches like how to be tactical in the way you move throughout, whether you know your industry or you know your office, and you know even down to like how to manipulate people for positive, right? For mutually beneficial
Right.
outcomes and stuff. And it's a really good book. But yeah, you know that was a decision on her part and clearly tactical about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very very smart, and she did it. You know,
Good for her.
yeah, she absolutely did it.
Good for her, yeah.
And that's what I said. And I was like, fucking
That's
turn
for
up,
her.
dude.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
On God.
On God, bro.
God. This is crazy. You know, it's crazy too because this is the first podcast that I knew like. I was
Someone's
like,
gonna say
it's-
on God.
It's gonna say on God. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
funny.
So I say it occasionally, but not like much.
Yeah.
And I know you do. And
Yeah.
I was like, this man better drop some on God.
On God, bro.
On
Yeah,
God.
you know how it goes.
On God.
Yeah, dude. So
Well, I'm excited for you, man. So I'm really excited to see where this avenue takes you, and I encourage you to keep working hard, man. And you know that's why I wanted you to go and come on, and encourage you to get some content out there. Now you got to, bro.
Yeah, no,
You
I
said it,
don't
bro.
have
I'm
a fucking
hosting this,
choice.
bro.
I ain't got a choice.
You know you got to produce some content. You got to edit it. You got to get out there, man, and start putting yourself out there because I think people are gonna like you. And again, you know, I think we have to, just like in the real world, I'm trying to develop, this circle of killers, right? Successful men and women who I think are just badasses and I want to be surrounded by because I want to be more like them. I think you've got to curate something like this in the route you're going, right? And so this is something that you and I can mutually benefit each other on, right? I can promote you here through the podcast and you can promote me here through, and I mean, it's strategic and double exposure. And, I want to be able to do that for, my friends and associates and people who I value. So, yeah, man, I'm excited to see where this takes you and eager to see it all start to come together.
me too, bro. Me too. It's been a long time coming.
Man.
It's been a long time coming.
Let's talk about some crazy shit, bro.
Let's talk about some crazy shit.
All right. You know what I was watching today? I was watching some video and it was like have you heard like the fourth turning or what that is? You don't know what that is? So it's this book and it predicts like the cyclical events of like the economy and society and culture and
That
things.
sounds terrifying.
Yeah. And so in the fourth turning, it's like there's these 4 different cyclical events that happen every 20 years. It's an 80-year cyclical cycle, right? And it's like
One of them's like a disease or famine. And
I mean, it's very much like good men create, hard times create, what is it? What's
good
this?
times create soft men and hard
Right,
times
soft
create
men.
hard
Soft men create
or
hard
whatever.
times.
Yeah.
Hard times create good men. Right. So it's very much that, but it's kind of like a 4-piece, and it's like a high time, and then and so like everyone's very logical and rational and like successful, and that was like the World War II period for us, which is like that's what the book says anyway, right? And that this was like the highlight, like the economy's booming, we're expanding, and then the next cyclical cycle after 20 years is like the passion cycle, which is like everyone's kind of awakening, and you got like hippies and people becoming more progressive and emotionally intelligent. LSD and acid were being introduced, and music and stuff like that. And then the next is the breakdown. Everything starts kind of like falling apart, crumbling. And then the next one, which is what we're in, is like shit hits the fan. Things are hard. War, famine, turmoil, blah, 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 blah. And so it was like super interesting to watch all of that. And I think we just eased our way into it and we're like halfway through it. And I think it goes on until like 2028 or something. So like and it feels right. It feels like we're in kind of hard times right now.
Yeah, dude. I went to the grocery store and a carton of eggs was like $8 for like not even the good ones. I was a little pissed off. I was like, what the hell is this?
It's like, especially like, because we're in such a high real estate, and I'm in the real estate industry, and it like the last few years, it was like so popping. Houses going up like 30 to 50% in equity every year. Just like, what? How's that house worth more? Nothing was done to it? How could it be worth that much more? And it felt like this can't go on forever. Money's super cheap. Interest rates are so low. It's like free money. They're giving away money, and now it's like, boom, interest rates are high. Prices are stagnant. I think you could even see them come down a little bit. And so it's like nothing's really moving. Nothing's really shaking. And then inflation, goods are high, services are high. Everyone's just trying to like we're all kind of holding it together, but it was not.
By the smallest thread.
Yeah, it feels very much like everyone's a little on edge.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like a good chunk of society is, a single car accident away from being homeless. You know what I mean? It's like, that's a scary feeling to have. It's, if anything happens to my job, I don't know how I'm going to feed my wife and daughter, So,
yeah.
So I definitely understand that. It's a freaky time.
Well, I mean, and we're kind of rebounding from the effects of all the lockdowns from COVID. And then, you've got kind of an administration that doesn't exactly seem like they're doing the best. Not that the last administration was perfect by any means, but it just feels like everything's kind of I don't know, man. It feels not a joke, but like, I don't know, man. Like politics, for example, right? It's like the people who make the laws, right? Like I used to, I was never super political back in the day, but it was like, I take these people seriously, It's like, I'm curious about these things. And sometimes things would happen like the election or stuff, and it's like, you would watch it with like a serious tone, and now it's like a joke. Yeah. It's like
everyone just kind of laughs whenever something terrible happens.
It's like a popularity contest, and they just shit on each other.
Who has the most Twitter followers?
Dude, it's crazy, bro. It's crazy, man.
Yeah, I've never been super political either. Still really not that much.
Well, I told Joseph this, he said the same thing, and I told him it's a Socrates quote, I think, is who says it. And he says, if you don't take an interest in politics, politics will take an interest in you. Yeah. So these are, regardless of whether or not, like me, you may think a lot of these people are jokes, and there's a lot of corruption, and these people do not have our best interest in mind. It's something that affects us. We'll go all the way down to the lower end of the spectrum of just people who are in poverty. These laws will still affect you and your freedoms and your rights and your liberties and what you can and can't do. And, it feels like these things that we're on a path towards somewhere. Right. I don't know, in the short term if it's going to be a good path or not. It feels very weird.
Yeah, I agree with that, man. I think that our country's in a strange place, and it could go either way. It could be good or it could be bad.
Yeah. So like I think we just hit the debt ceiling too. Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to get my taxes filed.
Bro,
I'm like,
God.
I watched some video on social media the other day, and it was like a guy, and he was like reading through like the legal laws of what happens, what actions they can take when the debt ceiling is hit, and one of them was like withholding federal tax returns. I was like, what?
That'd be so
bad. Like, hell no, bro.
For sure, having my kid and I can't get that credit, bro.
Oh, I'm ready to file my shiznit tomorrow, So, and I usually like wait till like March or something. Yeah. I'm always late on my taxes.
Oh, me too. Every time.
That should happen in February.
But I normally do it myself, so it's like it's only me to blame.
I used to do it myself. Now, obviously, we both have a guy, a CPA, so they'll get done, and we write off, and because of our content creation and stuff, we have more write-off powers. So that's another cool, valuable thing that I think we could maybe mention, which is a lot of this money you've invested in me as well, on like your PC, your gaming PC, things that that seem as more like luxuries And these are going to be awesome write-offs because we're utilizing them for our content creation and our business. So that's something good to know, that a lot of young people who are wanting to maybe go in this avenue, you're not just like throwing money away on something you might not use, as long as your intention is to use it for this business and you go that route. This is and you do the right thing, that you have the potential to write these things off.
Yeah, last thing I need is the IRS come knocking on my door.
Yeah, you don't want that. I heard they got 80,000 new peeps up in there.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
That's crazy. I should have applied.
It felt like those people were not brought on for like the billionaires and millionaires per se.
No, they weren't, bro. They were. Yeah. That's just it, right? Like, it seems like in this country, the more money you have, the more freedom you have.
No doubt. But I think that's in most places.
I'm sure. Yeah.
I think since the dawn of time and society, maybe it wasn't money, maybe it was power, but I think the two are very symmetrical. Yeah. I think money can buy you power to a degree.
Like, if I commit a crime and I hire the best lawyer ever, I'll probably get away with it.
But it's not how much freedom can you afford, right?
Exactly.
Does your lawyer know the judge?
Exactly.
The judge. So, yeah, no doubt. But I mean, that goes all the way down to the, because I listen to people talk about like the patriarchy and the society's sexist. But, for example, like women, there's all these statistics that show that, women get far less, far more significantly less punishing sentences for the same crimes, right? And whether you think that's correct or not, it's clearly not equal, So, clearly our system is, and I don't necessarily even have a problem with that, as someone who's kind of raised to be, a gentleman and, to value women in a certain way and those kind of things. I don't know. I think the way I treat women is sometimes I take a little leniency in the way and so I don't know that that's wrong or good or bad or not. Yeah. But I mean, I
definitely don't treat
in other ways
like a bro, you know what I mean?
No, 100%. I mean, one thing where I fall short is like, pretty ain't a pass, right? And so it's like there's some behaviors I just won't put up with, right? Sure. And just because you're pretty, I've had my young time and my pretty girls, and so now I'm kind of, it's like, well, I still expect you to be like not a shitty person,
right? Just be a good person. It's not that hard. I think maybe 70 to 80% of our problems would be solved if everyone would just shut the fuck up and be a good person. It's like, just chill out.
I mean, dude, it's like, what do you like? We're so divided now. What is a good person? Like a good person is literally a different definition from because we're such on different. You've got like people who are hyper conservative, people who are hyper progressively liberal, right? And it's like their definitions of a good person are not the same. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know. That seems hard to quantify, right? Like when you say like if everyone would just be a good person, it's like, what's a good person? It's like, what they say a good person is, or what you say a good person is, or what I say. It's like I don't know. I feel like as a society we've really lost some of our foundation that used to all be on the same page, right? I understand there were like very old traditions that were maybe hypocritical, or not treating people equally, and examples of like that. That's obviously not a good thing. But I think we've thrown the baby out with the bathwater, and so it seems like these are maybe some things we've lost, which is like having similar morals, for example. Yeah. Sure. What do you think about that, bro?
I agree with that. I think another thing that we've lost is like a sense of community. It's being super divided. Like back in the day, like when the Civil War was happening, it was like legitimately divided. Like half the country was one way and the other half was another. Mm-hmm. And it's like now it's like your neighbor could be you're divided from your neighbor, and like I think that's a big problem. Mm-hmm. I think it's important. When I say like be a good person, it's not like I'm saying be sinless or be Christ-like or anything like that. It's like, just be respectful and, do your best not to be a piece of shit. It's like, but that gets me thinking too. It's like, someone's good can be someone else's bad and vice versa. I feel like good and bad can be subjective sometimes depending on what we're talking about.
I think abortion's a great example, right? Sure. You have people who think they're trying to save babies' lives, and you have people who think they're trying to protect women's rights, right? Both are good things.
Yes.
Right. So it's like,
right. Well, yeah.
Yeah. But like one's good and one's bad depending on who you talk to. Right. Exactly. So it's like,
and for that, it's like I've heard both sides, right? Like I know I have a friend who's had an abortion and it really messed her up psychologically. She had a lot of trauma from it. She still hasn't recovered from it. But using that abortion, she was able to like have like a testimony in church and she like helped multiple pregnant women who were on the brink of having an abortion, save that child. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, that the loss of that one child saved, another 15 or 20 kids. So it's like,
yeah,
it's hard. It's that one's a hard one for me because like that's such a good thing. Like there's multiple women who were able to birth these kids and take care of them, and like they were all successful at being mothers. And I think that's a beautiful thing. I have a kid, and I'd be heartbroken if something happened to her. Obviously. Mm-hmm. And I'm glad that I have a kid. While things are hard and it's difficult to be a father, and it's difficult to be a husband, and to provide the way that they need to be provided for is a difficult thing to do, especially as a new father, because I don't know what my baby is crying for. If I change her diaper and I feed her and she's napped and everything is good, like, why are you still screaming in my face? You know what I mean? So it's like, and then with my wife, it's like postpartum is a very real thing. And I think that, I think women lose a part of themselves when they first have kids because they're so caught up in the child's well-being that they forget about taking care of themselves, what their passions were. And one thing that I've encouraged my wife to do and that we've been talking about is just her finding herself again, whether that means that she goes out and on a hike by herself and just thinks about things for a couple of hours while I watch the baby, or finding new hobbies. Since I'm starting content creation, I asked her, I was like, what if I buy you a camera? Do you want to start making videos of like makeup tutorials? Because she went to school for cosmetology. I was like, right. You could do get ready with me videos on YouTube. You could do makeup videos. You could do whatever you want to. You could even just film like your hikes and, throw them up on YouTube. You barely even have to edit that shit. It's like,
yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. And your wife's a really unique example because she's almost like the outlier nowadays, right?
Yeah.
Women are so encouraged to like be independent, a career woman, and so oftentimes as a single guy, I meet these young, intelligent, pretty women, and it's like there's no room for me. Like,
right.
Like, it's like
school and work and friends and going out and being a kid and still partying
and planning my future and investing and like taking care of me. And it's like and it's like I don't know, man. That's a really complex scenario, but yeah, it feels like I get the feeling that a lot of these young women are going to wake up in later age and probably regret, things and feel very, very much so like they're lacking or missing something in their life. And that society, it's like people are always like, it's like there used to be this idea like the Matrix and stuff like this, that society was lying to you, right?
Right.
And people have bought into this thing, right? And it very much so feels like the things they're telling people are going to make them happy aren't. It's like money, right? Like I was talking to you about this the other day, right? So there was this, I think it was like a German propagandist that was hired on by the tobacco companies in the 50s or 60s.
Sell cigarettes to women.
And so they wanted to sell more cigarettes to women.
Yeah.
And so the way they did is this was during like the feminist revolution, right? Which was a great thing, right? But they didn't care about empowering women. They wanted to make money. And so what they did was they used cigarettes as a way to, they made it look like smoking a cigarette as a woman was going to be an empowering thing.
Right.
And they call them like freedom torches or something, something hilarious.
It won't give you
right?
cancer. You're good.
And sure enough, women were like, oh, wow, I'm an empowered woman. I'm going to smoke cigarettes because it makes me hot. It makes me sexy. It makes me an independent woman. And, that's cigarettes don't do that. That's not real at all, right? It's fine if you smoke cigarettes, but, that was propaganda, for the poor, for money. And so I think a lot of these things are money driven, and a lot of the same people who think that like the patriarchy and the government's coming after me, and there's this they just I think those people are actually getting caught up in this by like this new age feminist revolution, for example, right? I don't need a man and and this, that, and the other, and career woman, and they've taken it so far that they've lost sight of like things that are going to be maybe more important, that would have been more important later on in life.
Sure. Actually, so I think that there's a good alternate side to that as well. And that's, I have just talking to some of my older friends who have wives and stuff, like, I think it's so important. And this is something that I've stressed to my wife constantly. Like, while I would love for you to be a stay-at-home mom and to be a homemaker in general, to raise my children. And
you prefer that?
I do. I do prefer that because I don't think anyone's going to take care of my kids the way that me and my wife will. You know, I
agree with
don't trust people. I think our world is a pretty scary place, and there's a lot of sick, nasty people in it.
Yeah.
And you know, I don't want anything to happen to my kid because I'm gonna end up in prison for murdering the fuck out of somebody. You know what I mean? So it's like, but like one of the things that I've stressed to her, and I've drilled into her was that, you know, find something that's going to give you drive in 18 years, because in 18 years, when my daughter goes off to college, what are you going to do? Right? Yeah. There's no more toys everywhere. There's no more laundry that needs to be done. You're only cooking for one or two. Like, at that point of your life, what are you going to do? You know, are you going to become stagnant? Are you going to sit on the couch and watch Netflix all day? It's like, what are you going to do? Because when my kid leaves, my plan is to continue with like my career, right? And so like, while I don't necessarily care if she has a career or not, I do want her to have something, whether that's, you know, content creation as well, or if she's, you know, going to a book club or, well, that's never going to happen. My wife hates reading. That's funny. Book club.
Well, I think there's a balance, right? And I think it's good of you to encourage those things, you know, right. And those things are going to be key. And there's other, you know, I think developing like a stable social circle, especially, you know, I think women are very social beings.
Sure.
And I think, you know, when the kids leave, you want a network of like friends and married couples and like people who are basically family, right?
Right.
Who are, you know, you're having them over for dinner once or twice a week, right? You're going on a double date here and there, right? You know, you're going on a date here and there, just you two, and having time for each other. And, you know, oftentimes it's easy to fill the gaps of time, right? I feel like we rarely have like empty time, you know? Sure. I just think the things we're filling it with, you know, a lot of the time are not the right things.
Right.
They don't have the correct substance.
Yeah, you gotta continue to feed your mind even when you're in your downtime. You know, it's like,
yeah.
I think that's super important, and I think that's one of the biggest reasons why like retirement kills people. You know, a lot of people say that retirement is a death sentence, and I like to imagine that when I retire, that, you know, I'll be spry still and like be reading books and be learning things. And
retirement's just a word to me. It's
right.
just this. It's the dream that was sold. I don't know that I'll ever like retire. I think I'll like financially hit like retirement age, and it's like, okay, well, now I'm technically like, right. But I'm going to continue doing and pursuing and being and stuff. You know, one thing I think of what you're talking about with your wife Lauren is, you know, her mom is a good example, right? Because she was a stay-at-home mom, right? Yeah. You know, but, you know, a good example I'm thinking of right now in her situation, which is, you know, she's separating with her husband, and so, you know, as a stay-at-home mom, she could have been out there still having like friends, developing relationships, right. Going out, you know, having like a ladies' night once a week or something, you know, getting plugged into different circles, and it would have made this period so much easier on her. Right?
I agree. I think that would help with like the lonely factor and things like that. You know, right. I know that separation and divorce could really, really bring a person down. Like my parents were divorced,
especially if that's all like. That's like you've been primarily leaning only on, you know,
on this one
I'm not
person.
saying go out there and hang out with a bunch of dudes, for example, but I think it's good to have, I think relationships are key.
Right.
You know, and you need to have those relationships. And if you just have maybe like 2 or 3 family members and then your significant other, you know, I don't know that that's, you know, enough. You need like a community.
Right.
You know, you want to develop a community, and you want to be very picky about who you allow into the circles. You know, and you build your inner circle, and then like a mid-tier circle, and you know, and you put all these layers together, and you have like, you know, you have all these different friends you can go out, and you know, I think those things are important. I think relationships are so key to have all of this.
Sure.
But that's good. I mean, I think it's excellent. You support her, man, and she needs to you know, be her own person for sure.
Yeah.
You know, her identity shouldn't be entirely rooted in just a child or
right.
children.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
And you know, and like I said, like, you know, when women lose themselves after having a baby, it's like that's like the moment. I think that's very important for husbands and men to step in and remind them that they are still their own person, and you know, you're not just boobs and milk. You know, you're.
Yeah, but I do think there is this very intimate identity that I'm a mother now. Like right. I am this new thing, and that's beautiful too. I think that's just, it's a new layer. It's not a bad
right. It's an addition
it's
to.
An addition to.
Yeah, it shouldn't be
yeah.
a replacement, right? Like,
yeah.
I know plenty of women who have had kids and made that their entire personality forever. It's like, I'm a mom now and that's it. And
yeah.
It's like, great. Good for you.
Yeah, I think, but I see a lot of people do this in a lot of avenues, right?
Right.
Like when we were in our EDM phase, right? Brian, our gay friend, right? It was very much like, he really rooted so much of himself in just the fact that he was gay, right? And it's like, hey man, like I want to like you for who you are, and it's like gay should kind of be like, you just happen to be gay. It's like, that's fine, but it shouldn't be like your entire personality.
Yeah,
like your entire personality is.
I think that's
a mother
that's
or
the
being
key with
gay
like
or
everything,
something like
right?
that.
Like if one thing is your entire personality, then you're not a very deep or in-depth person. I don't think you know yourself very well.
Yeah.
If that's the case, because I have a million different hobbies. And it's like while I don't always get to go do those hobbies, like I still have them, and I enjoy my time when I do get the opportunity to go do those things.
It's so crazy too, because when we first met, I was so reversed on how I feel about these things. I was very much more so like where you're at, which is like, I want her, it's like, why do you want to be with a girl who's not intelligent? Why do you want to be with a girl who doesn't have all these hobbies and independent? And like, I wanted all of the things that I kind of know now are not necessarily the most attractive thing in because they come with all these problems. And so not that, like men, women, anyone, you can go be whoever you want to be. That's definitely not what I'm saying. But I do feel like some of like, it's a balance more so, right? Because, again, like I was saying earlier, you get these very like, modernized, fourth generation feminist women or something like that, and they're so ingrained in all of these things that that again, like there's no room for me. And it's like, as a man, I want to be able to be a leader and a protector and a provider, and I want to be able to like add a value, and be something, And like, for example, like with my most recent ex, right? It felt very much like there's like, you don't need me.
Right.
It's like, but girls are so scared now to need a man. It's like,
Right.
I don't want to. I want a man. I don't need a man. And it's like, well, kind of want you to need me a little bit,
Lauren,
I want a little codependency.
Lauren sent me a funny TikTok a couple months ago, and it was like, I don't understand these women who say they don't need no man. I need my man. Like,
Right.
Where the fuck are you? And I was like, yeah, dude.
Cameron's wife was telling him the same thing the other day. She went on a trip without him, and I don't know if she was struggling with like a gas pump or something, but she hit him up and like they had a nice laugh together. It's like, I don't like going on trips without you, and it was kind of like, I appreciate you, and which is nice.
Yeah.
Like, that's a beautiful thing, man,
for sure.
I'm not here to be like the everything.
Right.
I understand there's so much value to having a woman and a wife or a girlfriend, right? And you're balancing each other out, but I very much see society like overburdening women with this role to need to be everything and not need you at all, right? And it's like, I don't know, it's not the qualities that come with all that can be very unattractive in my opinion. So yeah, I think a lot of women are starting to wake up though, and are going like, hey,
Lauren's definitely one of the outliers. We've had conversations about, how like when she talks to some of her friends, she like feels some type of way because they're all like, yeah, I'm going to college and I'm going to be this, I'm going to be that. And Lauren's like, I want to be a mom. Like I want to take care of my kid,
Yeah.
And I want to do that for her, right? Like I want to be able to make enough and provide, so that, she doesn't need anything. She can go do what she needs to do and just
I would love to be able to do the same for
swipe
for
that
my
card
future
and
wife or
we
girlfriend.
got groceries and we got Netflix and Hulu or whatever. Like I watch fucking hella TV, dude. Like, I love that shit. Fucking love that shit.
So we'll talk about something I don't know if I'm even allowed to talk about him. Andrew Tate, right? So I was watching this podcast. It's a dating podcast, super controversial. And he was talking about this like exact topic, and it was him and like all these beautiful women, and he's surrounded by like, and it's Miami women, so I'll give you that, it's Miami women, but they've got like career women on. I think one woman was like, had a master's or doctorate in the medical field, and a medical degree, and then you've got like like finance women, and then you've got like pretty girls who are just they're monetizing their looks. You got a very big spectrum of women, right? And they're going around asking them like, like, what do you want? When do you want to get married? Do you want kids? And they're all very much like, oh no, I just want to keep having fun and no kids. And it's like, I'll get married one day. And we all kind of know there's a bit of a biological urgency on the woman's side to have children if you want children. And so, he makes a statement that was like very. I sat very long and thought about it, and it felt like it was like okay, this makes sense to me personally. And all the women's eyes were like big. They were just like, oh, you know, when he made this, like, dropped this truth bomb. And what he talks about, I think it was his grandmother. And he's talking, you know, after they all go around and like, oh yeah, you know, I'm just gonna wait and make my money and focus on my career and like da 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 da. And he goes, you can do whatever you want to do. And he starts talking about his grandmother. He goes, so my grandmother lived to like 80-something years old, right? And her last birthday, I'll never forget, we were sitting around it, and it was everyone's there, right? And I think she had like 7, 8, 9 kids or something, right? And they had all had kids, and some of them didn't even had grandkids. So you've got like 50, 60, 70, 80 people all in this, like, at this home together, celebrating this woman. And, you know, all of them came from her by one way or another, right?
They wouldn't be there if it wasn't for her.
And you could tell, like, she is so fulfilled and happy and at peace being a mother and a grandmother and a great grandmother, right? Look at what you made. Look at what you've created by being like a good wife and a good mother and a good grandmother, right? And so he says none of these people cared about what clothes she was wearing or what career she had or how many degrees she had. They were there because they loved her and because she had been a mother or a wife or a grandmother, like a part of their life from a family perspective. And no one cared about any of these other things, right? And then all the women are kind of like watching Andrew Tate, and they're like, wow, okay. And he goes, mark my words, when you're 45 and alone and all your friends are married and have kids, it doesn't matter if you can afford an extra couple Gucci purses, you know, and, you know, with your 4 cats, like it's going to feel lonely. It's like, I don't want that for you, you know? And so, like, I don't know, that's something to the gist that he said. I think he probably said it in a more like, right? But, you know,
you're going to die alone.
He says a lot of controversial things, but, you know, all the women are kind of sitting there quietly, and you can tell they're like reassessing, right? That, like, I've been told this thing by society and culture, and because it's very Western, you know.
Yeah.
You go to like third world countries or like East Europe or there's a very different sentiment. I was just watching this other dating podcast, and one of the girls was from Ukraine, and she was just kind of like talking about the culture shock of like how the dating world is here versus how it is there. So no, it's interesting, man. And so it's just something I kind of like as I move through the dating world. It's something I kind of have in the back of my head as I'm, you know, getting to know a girl and wanting to kind of, you know, make the decisions on, you know, what partner I choose moving forward. But I think you lucked out, you know. I think I'd much rather have an outlier, more like, you know, like a very nurturing, feminine, sweet, you know, maternal lady who is enlightened enough to be honest about how she feels about things. Because I think like hobbies and things like that, I think these are things you can help instill into her, or she can develop on her own.
Right.
You know, I don't know that you can like unprogram yourself from being like a hyper aggressive type A.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's hard to turn it off.
Right. You know, it's like I don't know, you know, and so they're like these feminine attributes that are so attractive, and it feels very much so that they're not like, you know, promoted in the way that they used to be. So I don't know.
Right.
That's my 2 cents on the dating world.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't know. I've been locked down for a while.
Yeah. You did good though.
Yeah.
You did good. Yeah. So what's it like being a dad, man?
Rewarding.
Rewarding.
Yeah, I would say rewarding. There's a lot of times where I come home from work and my kid just gives me a fat smile and like reaches out for me, and it's like, you know, that always makes my heart happy. Yeah, man, it makes my heart all tingly. There was actually one moment where I had a little bit of like an emotional time because I woke up. I was passed out in bed, and so we co-sleep. You know, we sleep with the baby in the bed for
every night.
Most nights, yeah.
Okay.
And so
like some people are like opposed to that or something.
Yeah, it's because it causes like attachment issues. But I want my kid to be attached. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think that's more normal though. That's probably what we did for like
all of us,
human history or whatever. Like I don't know. Like for how long have we been putting our kid to sleep in a
Jamie.
separate room? You know, like Jamie,
pull
that shit up, you know. But like just thinking, like we probably all slept in tents together and stuff like that. For like,
I like cuddling, you know. What?
I don't know that it's better for them to just sleep alone.
I think it's kind of like sad to like let a baby just be in a dark room. Like you don't even know she's awake.
Like I'm not opposed to like the cried out technique to a degree, because you still want to have alone time. You still want to be able to like put the baby down and go. But I would say like on a basis when we come to bed, it's like now we pick him or her up and we sleep together. I'd be fine with that.
Right.
Yeah.
And so
women who aren't cool with that sometimes like, I don't know, concern me. It
seems cold.
It seems cold, doesn't it?
Yeah, and like you don't want to share your bed with your kid. Oh, yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'll prefer that. I mean, I'll probably give up some. Does it make sleeping hard or difficult, or it changes?
Yeah. So my biggest complaint about being a dad is that I have no space on my bed. That's like my biggest complaint.
For you out there, big
for
dog.
sure, dude. Like, like I'll come to bed late because obviously like content creation, like so working a full-time job, coming home, being a dad, like cooking, doing the dishes, like the things that my wife wasn't able to get to on her off day, you know, like catching up on laundry, doing all these things. By the time I'm hopping on games, it's like 8 o'clock, and then I'll play till about midnight. If I'm recording, I'll record a few hours at a time, and then spend the next day or two trying to edit. Yeah. Because I'm still learning all the softwares and stuff, and it's very fucking difficult to do.
I'm right there with you.
But yeah, man. So that's my problem. That's probably my biggest complaint. Like I'll come to bed at like 1 or 2 in the morning, and my wife's like diagonal on the bed, and then my kid's right here, and then I have like the sliver, and I'll like yank my pillow to the side. I'll throw some on my phone real quiet so that I don't wake them up, and I'll like pass out too.
Are you like starting to get more consistent sleep lately?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, my kid's pretty good about she'll wake up at night, but she'll cry for up 30 seconds and latch onto my wife and feed while she passes it back out.
Sleep. Yeah, that's cool. She seems very chill for a baby. I think
she's a very good baby. Yeah, she's a very good baby. Yeah, for sure. Which is funny because I was a fucking terrible baby as far as like my parents would say.
I think I was a hard baby too.
Yeah. You're a hard adult too.
I was a good kid though. Yeah.
Were you though?
Yeah, I was a good kid. I wasn't troublesome in this. Like I was too smart for my own good, but I was very well behaved.
See, I was the opposite. I was not.
High school, in high school, like I totally like.
I was always a little mischievous kid. Like
I could see that.
Yeah. So I came to bed, or I was passed out the other day. This was like a month or two ago, and whenever I'm asleep, I don't like to be woken up. I like to wake up on my own. Besides like my kid waking me up.
Does your alarm piss you off in the morning, bro?
Well, no. So like that's what I mean. Like if I don't need to be awake, when I plan to wake up, I hate like waking up like 5 minutes before my alarm. That shit pisses me off. It's like fuck you, brain. So I'm passed out, and me and my wife were both off the day. We had plans to like go out and spend the day as a family, and I feel someone start touching my face, and like that's already like a thing of me. I don't like people touching my face. It's even like my wife. Like I just don't like it. And so I smack my lips. I'm like, Lauren. And she's like, what? And I open my eyes, and my daughter's just like holding my face and staring up at me. And I'm like, I can't even be mad. I can't even be mad. And so it made me tear up a little bit because
if your wife like caresses your cheek a little bit, like or something.
I'm not a fan.
You're not a fan?
No.
Really?
I have like really sensitive skin, and I'm convinced like people's fingers are like so fucking oily. You know what I mean? So it's like. I don't want that. Like, I don't have to go wash my face.
You did marry a white girl, so we be oily, bro.
I mean, I'm a little greasy too sometimes. You know what I'm saying? I can be greasy too, but it's like, I try my best not to touch my face myself. I do my best not to. But it was just a really cute moment, and I woke up and
sometimes those moments make everything.
Yeah, I've been exhausted, and I'm like working a lot, and I'm just like not sleeping. And then all of a sudden it was like none of that shit mattered. Sometimes my kid will look at me after a really hard, like on like Saturdays and Sundays, I'm off every weekend. I normally have my wife, her schedule changes. So it's like normally on the weekends I'm on daddy duty for the first like half of the day. And so like that kind of.
Does she work or?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So she'll be at work, and normally she has to like be there at 7 a.m. So she's out the door by like 6:15, 6:30. Okay. So like I'll wake up, and some days are easier, and some days just are really hard to keep her entertained. She's a very intelligent baby, and she likes to look at stuff, and she likes music and sounds and color. Yeah, she's very curious. Yeah. And so some days you can keep her entertained by like playing with her and doing these things, but like some days it just doesn't work. And on those hard days, it's like my wife will come home, she'll change, she'll chill for a little bit. I'll pass the baby off so she can eat, because after a certain point I won't make a bottle. I'll like there's, I don't want to waste the milk if Lauren's gonna be home in 45 minutes to an hour. I'll just feed her some snacks or something. And then, I'll hand her off, and then, like, as soon as I hand her off, she's, like, reaching for me and crying because I'm not there, and it's like, come here. Like, come here. I don't even want to give you up right now. Like, come on.
I'm looking forward to it, to a large degree, and then obviously part of me is kind of like, hey, I'm going to enjoy my single time as long as it lasts.
For sure.
Yeah, my bed all to myself, and, my dog's pretty chill. He's just, like, pick a spot on the floor. He's good. So, very low maintenance. Interesting, man. Interesting. So where do you so you're knocking on 30, man. We are entering, like, I'd say our prime, right? Like we're peaking in our age range. What are you gonna do for this year? Like how are you gonna level up? What are you working on? What are your goals? What do you want? If you could wave a magical wand, like what's your mission? For this year?
I would have to say that it's going to be just flooding the internet with me.
Okay. There you go.
I'm going to fucking flood that shit, dude.
You heard that, guys?
Yeah.
Get ready for Tahablast.
Get ready for Tahablast, baby.
Tahablast, baby.
I want to set myself up for, so like next year I'm not dealing with the same issues that I'm having, like editing, schedule timings and things like that. Like, I think the thing that I'm struggling the hardest with right now is time management, because working a 9-to-5, father, husband, and then content creation and editing and all of that stuff, and still wanting to like do stuff on my off days, right? Like I want to go out and like go shop and go hang out with my friends and see the boys, or go out with Lauren and the baby. And it's like, it seems like there's so little time, and I'm constantly having to choose between going to bed and like working on what I want to work on. So I want to set myself up this year with the skills and the knowledge, so that
to kind of streamline all
that next year, like, it'll be easy peasy, and I just know what I'm doing. I'll be on a good schedule. Something that I'm used to, like I think right now, like what I'm looking at is probably streaming for 10 to 20 hours a week, and then editing for whatever other time I have. I would like to maybe get a good video up, a good long-term video.
With the schedule you have now?
Right.
Okay.
And so I want to like get to a place where I can do, one long form of content, like, a full video, 15, 20-minute video on YouTube a week, and then, a couple shorts or TikToks as well, like 2 to 3.
What do you hope to like, what value do you hope to bring to the table? Like, what do you like, how do you plan to captivate people,
I think my approach is going to be just being genuine. I don't want to, I don't want to be anyone. I don't want to be a personality, right? I don't want to be someone I'm not. And I don't want people to get used to someone that I'm not, and then they expect that person when I'm off stream, or if I start to gain fans and things like that. I don't want to have to change who I am to better suit anyone, right? So I think being genuine, I think creating different types of content. I think most people focus on, one of the things that you actually brought this up, and I wanted to say something then, but I didn't. It was the loadout videos. Okay. That shit annoys the fuck out of me.
Oh yeah.
Like, how many fucking RPK build loadouts are you gonna show me? Like, just show me one, bro. Not every single content creator needs to do that shit, and I'm probably not gonna do that shit. I want my shit to be funny, genuine. I want people to laugh. I want people to vibe with it. I want people to understand that I'm not perfect, and I'm not ever gonna be perfect. And I don't want to be fake. So I think that'll help sell. Like just being genuine, being real. Not being raw, you know what I mean? Like showing people the real who I am. And that was something that we kind of talked about today, was like, you asked if I was gonna if I dressed up, and I was like, nah, dude, like I'm gonna wear, this is what I look like on a very regular basis.
I just asked him, like, what are you gonna wear, bro? He's like, dude, I got a hoodie on.
I got a hoodie on, bro. Hoodie and some Vans, like I'm comfortable as hell.
Yeah.
So that's like a
That's you, man. I mean, you style it up sometimes.
Sometimes,
though.
yeah,
You throw it on. You
I can clean up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's like that's the goal, right? Is just to be genuine, be myself, and create a community of people who like me for me and not for what my personality online is. You know what I mean? I think a lot of people have like alter egos or something like that, you know, and I don't want to have to do that. I don't want to have to be in character every time I go out in public, and just in case someone runs into me that watches my content, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I would like to develop myself in a way that I'm growing as who I am genuinely into someone more that is curated to like how I want to be. You know, I've curated myself thus far to who I am now, and who I'm going to be in 5 years, 10 years. It's going to be, you know, it's going to be curated more, a more, you know, burn away the dead ash, right? I want to keep getting to the, you know, and then you find out like, oh, that's all that's left of me. Let's like, oh shit, okay, well, I need to build myself and like this time make myself out of like, you know, like organic, real stuff. You know? I think a lot of people have developed these personalities that lack a lot of substance, and you know, the shallowness, and you know, the who they are is oftentimes like, you know, and their identities are rooted in these things that aren't really like, you know, aren't
substantial.
Substantial,
there's
right?
No substance to
politics is a good example, right?
Yeah.
You go ask someone, you know, and they'll pair it back, you know, one side or the other, right? And it's like, I haven't heard a genuine response yet. It's like I can get all this from CNN or Fox.
Yeah,
News,
if you tell me what side you're on, left or right, I can probably pretty much peg you what
you think.
Exactly.
Right. You don't have a nuance.
Yeah, there's nothing to it. There's nothing to you. You're not any different than the liberal or the conservative. You know what I'm saying? You're just a talking head, bro. Yeah. I agree with that 100%, brother. Yeah. That's a crazy thing to think about. There's a lot of, you know what an NPC is? A non-playable character? That's like, you know, I feel like
there's
big chunk of society is our NPCs.
There's a lot of NPCs.
They just regurgitate the same thing over and over and over again, hoping to God that someone will take their side quest.
Bro, I listened to a podcast the other day, and this guy like truly believes like 80% of the population are actual NPCs. Like they're not real people. I was like,
because we live in a simulation?
He didn't say that, but it's just like, you know, these people are like, you know, like their baseline, you know, like algorithm or intelligence or whatever. It's like they're just NPCs, man. You know, and like he referenced like COVID, how people really just like submitted into like this. Here's what it is. Here's what you do. You put a mask on. You don't ask questions, right? And it's like, okay, yeah, well, you know, I care about other safety too, but like maybe some of this is a little, you know,
right?
Like I have questions.
Yeah,
that's it.
Of course.
I think, like, am I not allowed to have questions?
I think that's like the biggest problem is that people stopped asking questions. You know, I think that's why we are where we are. I think people were too.
Well, you're not allowed to ask the certain questions.
People are like, that goes back to people just being sensitive. You know, it's like, I get it. I've been asked questions like, oh, where are you from again? And you've known me for years. It's like, you know, I don't, you know, it is what it is. Like, I'm not going to take that as racism. I could easily be like, oh, you're a bigot and you're a racist. And, you know,
I'm also introducing you for this example, but yeah, no, I get it. Yeah.
So it's like,
well, I think some people just are looking for something to get upset about.
Right. No. Yeah.
Yeah. And oftentimes I think people are like the things people are getting upset. It's like not genuine things, you know. It's like we could be cracking jokes, you know. It's like me, you, and Andrew, right? And so we're all different ethnicities, and we're just like shitting on each other, you know. And y'all make like a white joke against me or something. And it's like it's fine, dude. Like we're just shitting on each other. It's like we're boys, you know what I'm saying? It's like, but someone looking into that would be,
oh my gosh,
oh God, that white boy's a racist.
Yeah, he doesn't like brown people.
Like, did you hear what he said? You know, it's like it's just. I don't know, man. You can't even.
And it's scary too in this day and age because there's so much technology. Like this anything like if I made a joke on stream, someone could clip just the part where I said something bad, and then fully take it out of context and ruin my life because of it. It's like, holy shit.
We're completely surveyed. Yeah. Like the survey, you know, like we're in 1984, bro. It's crazy. Like we're in a surveillance.
I recently read that book. And
did you really?
Oh yeah, like 2 months ago.
You're like, oh shit.
Yeah, because I had read it back in school when I was in high school, and then I was like, man, I should read that book again. Yeah. That one in Fahrenheit 451, Ray Bradbury.
Yeah.
Crazy fucking books. Crazy. I'm like, books. Holy shit.
We're living in it, man.
Yeah, I know.
We're living in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
The whole like banning of books things really reminds me of Fahrenheit 451. It's like I think pretty much everything should be like open for interpretation.
I think the new banning of books is like censorship, though.
I agree.
Censorship of ideas, censorship of opinions, censorship of like certain political thoughts.
And so that's what it was, right? In Fahrenheit 451, they started banning. They banned reading because you know it caused too many free thinkers. It's like you could read.
Don't want that,
right? Like you could read certain books and then like you know. I've had books change my life, when I've read them, and I'm like, oh wow, like that was a compelling read. Like The Giver, that book was
a good book.
insane. Like it really made me think about like what society really is and if utopia is even a possibility in real life, which I don't think it is. I don't think that we'll ever get to that place.
I think you take the fun out of it, man. Like, dude, you got adrenaline junkies, and you got like, you got wild people like me and you, and it's like, dude, we do wild shit, man. It's like, I don't know, man. I don't want a dull existence. I want to go out in a fucking blaze of glory.
Fuck yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Fuck yeah, buddy.
Or I at least want to have some fun and do some wild shit. It's like I don't like this very vanilla, domesticated thing that we seem to be just slowly getting beaten down.
I think that everything should be up for interpretation, right? I don't think that there's necessarily a correct answer for pretty much anything. Everything is kind of up for debate, and there's a both sides to everything. So it's like, one good example of that I think is like the Bible, right? Like you can see, or any holy book in general. I think I think that the Quran, the Torah. I think that you have a big group of people who say, oh, this is what it means. But when I read it or when someone else reads it, I could perceive it as a whole different way. And there's a good quote about that. It's perception is reality. And it's like, your perception of me is your reality. And even though I might not agree with it, it does not change the fact that that is your reality, right? And like it's such a cool thing to think about, because that gave me a little bit more compassion for other people and their stupidity, because I understand.
To them, it's their reality.
Right. I understand like you're so caught up in this small little circle that you're not looking at the world, right? You're looking at Dallas, Texas instead of the earth, And it's like, that's such a scary thing to think about, like broaden your horizons, read some books, go travel, live your life, be a good person, don't be a piece of shit. Don't murder people, don't rape people, don't kill people, like don't fucking steal shit. Like,
I don't know, man. I've been watching Peaky Blinders, bro. They get wild, bro.
Speaking of Peaky Blinders, bro, that shit is crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's crazy,
bro. These some of these shows have been really, really good the last couple of years.
They have, man. I'm wrapping up season 6. I actually like teared up today watching the. You finished all Peaky Blinders?
No, I only watched like the first 3 seasons.
Well, I don't want to spoiler it.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, but you're good with it.
Yeah,
all right. Well, spoiler alert.
Spoilers.
Season 6 for Peaky Blinders. So just turn this off now, guys, if you don't want the spoiler, because I would be pissed. So just fair warning. So his daughter Rosie, that he had with the she's the ex-prostitute who he's now married to, and she died, and you don't even see her that much, right? She's not like a big primary character, and she passed away from tuberculosis. And I'm just like, I'm watching the funeral play out, man, and it's like she hasn't been like a major player, and it's a little girl too, so she hasn't she doesn't have like a bunch of character lines or anything, but even then, man, it was like, I don't know what about it, but it was like it was kind of like heart-wrenching, man. And I just kind of like, I don't like making noise, but I just like, I'm watching it play out and I have a few tears, and I haven't cried in a long time, and I have a few tears come down, and I was just like, wow, man. And I think that reminds me of like like how precious women are, and there's some things that, like, even though she didn't like play like a major role, there's like this innate value that women have and young girls have in ways that, like, I think it's different. I think just men and women different, but it was really sweet, man. It was really sweet and really moving, and it kind of like hit me and just had me thinking about that, man, and kind of like, oh my God, like what it would be like to have a daughter, how like impactful something like that would be to you, how hard it would be to deal with that, and how we're so privileged, like regardless of like race and class and stuff. Like you have a kid these days, you pretty much expect your kid to be with you, and you expect to die before your kid does.
Right. No parent should ever have to bury their kid.
Right. But that was such a common, like, that was normal.
Right.
Even just 50 to 100 years ago, and especially after that, like, that was such a normal thing that, like, a lot of your kids might not make it, and so what, that's like in the 30s or 40s, that's not that long ago.
Right.
That's not that long ago in the grand scheme of things. And so we're in such a privileged, awesome place where all these, I'd say, not great things are happening, but in the verse, I mean, you can pretty much, I mean, you've got a very high likelihood that you're going to have, a kid where you can expect them to grow up, and that was not something that most parents had the ability to just have, expect,
Right.
For the dawn of time up until very recently on the human timeline. So, yeah, man, it just got me thinking. And yeah, it was weird too. I was like not expecting to be moved by it, like not expecting to, get a few tears from it. So, yeah, it kind of snuck up on me, but it was really good. But yeah, they do wild shit in that show.
They really do.
And I think a lot of it is like, a lot of it's badass. Like it makes me want to kind of, figure out how can I exercise these more innate, dominant, instinctual sides of me that are there. But obviously I can't. I have to like play the game of society.
Right.
I can't walk around like fucking people up and punching people every time they're urged.
Hey, you're a fucking idiot.
Like, dude, I think I said this to you the other day. I was like, man, do you ever just want to fucking right hook the fuck out of someone and walking up? It's like the urge just kind of, I don't think everyone has that urge, but sometimes it's like, man, it's like I could fucking decimate that person right there. Like, So, it's that balance as a man trying to find that like that animal primal side of you, the dominant side. And I think it's attractive too. A man that can take control, that can be dominant, that can lead, that can, make a woman submit, in the right type of way. I think those things are attractive, and there's a big demand and low supply of men like that are strong and capable, and you're seeing far less men, who have those traits out there, right? So if you can develop those traits as a man or have those traits as a man, I think it makes you very, appealing. Because there's just a lot of bitches, bro. A lot of men who are just weak.
Yep.
And they don't have together, and they're resentful and blaming women, or they're resentful and blaming whatever, right? And yeah, man, I think right now there's a call to men to really step back up, and fight against anything that's kind of trying to beat you down. And domesticate you.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I'm glad I locked it down because hearing some of your fucking horror stories of being single,
thanks,
like, god damn.
Yeah.
That shit is terrifying.
Maybe I'll start like a content podcast of like
you could do shorts.
Dating. Yeah, my dating. Like I don't know.
Date number one, like
I've
20
seen
seconds,
online
like
dates,
just fucking.
and I'm like, you're never gonna get the real,
like an e-date or whatever.
Yeah, or even in person. Like I just don't think they're gonna show you the real. Like some of the horror stuff I've seen, you'd never get these girls to actually like
say that shit on camera.
On camera, man. Yeah,
shit.
Yeah. I mean, dude, should I talk about it? Will I get banned if I talk about any of these dates?
I don't know.
I'll save it for another podcast.
Can I get some water?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I don't know if I need to pause it or not.
I'll just edit it out. We're going to take a brief little second, guys, and we'll be right back with you. All right.
Fucking best game, hands down, that's ever come out. Yeah. Like, dude, that game is the only video game I think that I've ever, like, teared up playing.
Really?
Yeah. Both of them had me, like, in tears.
What did you like more, the first or the second?
I like the first more.
Yeah.
I think the second was a really fucking cool, like, it was a really cool idea because you get to play, spoiler alerts for anyone who hasn't played The Last of Us 2.
Spoiler alerts.
You get to play both sides, right? You get to play Ellie as an adult, and then you get to play as Abby, who...
On the first one?
On the second one.
On the second.
And you get to play as Abby in the second one for the second half of the game. So the first half is you're in Seattle for 3 days, and then the second half is the same 3 days, but from a different perspective, which is really, really cool because they're both on different sides of like what they think is right and wrong. And like at the beginning of the game, you fucking hate Abby and her character, and you're like, fuck that bitch, and
the jacked one, right?
Yeah, the super jack girl, bro. Like, where are you getting that much protein, girl?
I don't know,
Holy
man.
shit. There was a lot of controversy about that over on Twitter.
Was there?
Yeah, everyone thought, they were like, oh, wow, they added like a trans character.
Okay.
And then the writer was like, no, she's just swole.
Yeah,
and it's like, oh, okay, like, cool. Like, she
girls
could.
can get pretty jacked too.
I mean, yeah, but like, not in the apocalypse, right?
Yeah, I think that's just impractical.
Yeah, like, there's no way, she's getting that much protein.
All the macros.
Yeah, like.
You robbing like GNCs or something?
On God, bro. And then towards the second half of the game, you really like you play as Abby and you get to see like her side of things.
And then you like don't hate her as much.
Yeah, you're like, damn, like I get it.
Like,
yeah, I get it. I fucking get it now.
Okay.
And that kind of like it, it puts it in perspective. So I'm very excited to see what they're going to do with the second season. The first season's been fucking fire so far.
Do you think the first season is going to be all of the first game?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're sprinting through it. The last episode that came out, episode 5, that was an entire arc.
By the way.
Fire episode,
I told
dude.
you, right?
It was absolutely insane, dude. I had such me and Lauren were laying in bed and we're just watching.
The ending was lit.
That had me in my feels a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. Even Lauren teared up a little bit. She hasn't played the game, so she has no idea.
Oh, so I was talking about. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, the ending. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Are you talking about like when the zombies came out?
Yeah,
dude, that was fucking nuts. You got to finally see the bloater, which was crazy. That dude ripped the fucking dude's face off.
Spoiler alert again, guys. Spoiler alert again.
Don't listen to me, bro.
We're talking about episode 5. So
Yeah.
if you haven't seen it, just turn it off now. So we're about to get into it now.
Yes.
Yeah. So I thought when she tried to save him with her blood, and I mentioned that to you. What was his name? Adam?
Sam.
When she tries to save the young boy with her blood, she's like, "Hey, my blood's medicine." Da da da. I thought it was gonna work.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, and I haven't played the game.
No.
So I didn't know.
I knew exactly what was gonna happen.
I was like, oh shit, it's gonna work. She like cuts herself and like rubs it all over the window. I was like, ooh, that's not hygienic. But yeah, I was like, all right.
Either you turn into a zombie or you get AIDS. Whichever, whatever.
And then like she wakes up the next morning and he's just sitting on his bed, and I was like,
yeah.
I was like, but that seemed like weird. Like, why hadn't he already eaten her or whatever? I don't know. He's just sitting there staring out the window, and then when she rouses him, he's like, wah, and pounces on her. I don't know. That was a little.
Yeah, I don't know. They didn't show like one thing that I really admire about the show, and I think that some people like. I think it's more of the people who didn't play the games. Like one thing I admire the most about the show is that we're getting a lot more like backstory to some of the characters that I really liked in the game.
Yeah.
So like Sam and Henry,
but they're having to like create that out of thin air. I suppose.
Yeah. So like in the game, Sam and Henry, they have a very sad story, obviously, but we get to see why they were like we didn't know why like they were being hunted in the first game, why they were running away. We just know that the people were after them. Yeah, we just knew that people were after them. They were trying to get out of the city.
Backstory.
They created an entire backstory, and Kathleen, who's that chick that gets tore up.
Dude, and she did a good job, but like I don't like her. Her.
Oh,
character.
Dude, the whole time I'm like, I can't wait to watch you die. Like, I can't wait to watch you die.
I didn't know what was gonna happen, man. And she's so heartless.
I knew she was gonna die only because she wasn't in the game. Like, she's a nobody.
And nothing against the actual actor who played her, because I think she embodied the role really well.
Yeah, I think I've seen her in a couple other things. But
I'm looking like her actual physical character, like her physical, and I'm like, but no, I was looking at her like her actual physical self, and it's like, there's no way, like, you're kind of like a milk toast, like, slightly overweight middle-aged woman. There's no way you're gonna be like running
the show, right?
There's just no way, man. I want to see like some hard the Joel's girlfriend who
they were just friends
or friends.
Tess, yeah.
Well, they're sleeping together and stuff.
Yeah,
come on, whatever they are.
They didn't do that in the game. I wasn't.
That was
one thing that I wasn't.
That
was one thing I wasn't a fan of. It's like that was an unnecessary
girlfriend and boyfriend now, bro.
That was an unnecessary.
So Tess was a badass.
Yeah.
And I could see her running like the show.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? She seemed like a hard woman. She'd
been
through.
She murdered people, yeah.
Yeah. What's her name again?
Tess.
No.
Oh, Kathleen.
Kathleen. Yeah, she'd murder Kathleen.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. It's like I don't know. Kathleen just didn't like command respect for that type of character in that role. In my opinion.
So cool.
But
Easter
she played
egg too.
the cold, heartless, like I lost my brother, you're all gonna fucking die kind of thing.
Yeah. So cool Easter egg. The dude who plays her head of security, the guy with the beard and the gray hair.
Yeah. I liked him.
He actually voiced Joel's brother Tommy in the game.
Yeah.
So they added, I think it was Troy Baker who voiced Joel, and then Ashley Johnson who voiced Ellie.
Okay.
They all have roles in the show as other characters, which is really, really cool.
Interesting.
Yeah. I thought that was a really cool little add-on that they did, the little Easter eggs. When you see them, I'm gonna be like, oh wow, like that's the dude that did. Because I watched when I first played the game, I watched.
Was
like
Sam deaf in the game too?
No.
Okay.
No. That was an addition. Yeah.
Okay.
That was an addition.
I like that though. That was cool.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Some like interesting, like the little. I like the little.
I didn't know what that was.
Yeah, you never played with those?
No, dude. I thought I was like, I saw them like doing
like
the
you
thing.
peel it and it erases itself.
And I was like, "Where's the paper?" I thought they were ripping off a piece of paper every time.
No.
Lauren goes, "You didn't have one of those?" And I was like, "No, dude.
You deprived child.
We were poor, fam.
Bro, you had a PlayStation.
I bought that myself. I was mowing lawns and like taking out my neighbor's trash, bro, to play video games. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's crazy too, because growing up, I mean, I think maybe financially I was slightly more privileged, but not by much.
Sure.
I didn't exactly have a lot either. But you growing up in the city, you had access to like all these different languages you were learning in school. So it was very different how like, because like as we've gotten to know each other as friends, it was like how you have had different opportunities that I haven't had.
Right.
And I've had different opportunities that you haven't had. Simply just being in a different locale.
Right,
you know?
right.
Yeah. It's interesting.
Yeah. So The Last of Us is really, really, really good, and I'm super enjoying the show, and I'm hoping that they're gonna do another game. I think that would be really cool.
I mean, they'll definitely have the leeway to do it with all of this build up, you know.
Yeah, because they could add on.
People are gonna want a season 3. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly, dude.
So now it's like now you have reason for it.
And like I'm not gonna spoil anything for what season 2 is gonna hold, because I know you haven't played the games, so like I know what's gonna happen, and it's
I watched
fucking
you play a little bit.
depressing, bro. Like
no.
it gets
Just
real
don't
sad,
play me.
dude. It
Just
gets
don't
real sad. Like that was a.
They're gonna Game of Thrones me, bro.
Oh yeah, 100%, dude. You start losing people left and right, and it's like no way. That was one of the things that really got me of the second game. Like when I first started playing it, because that was like, you know, when they announced it, I was like, oh, I'm pre-ordering that. I'm playing that shit. I like it. You got my money already.
Yeah.
And so yeah, dude, I was playing with and Lauren was watching me play, and she was, oh no, is this what I think it is? And like, you know, someone very important dies, and I was like,
see, I think this is an RPG that you could play and you could film yourself and like have genuine original reactions.
Yeah.
And that would sell.
Yeah,
for
for sure.
He doesn't know what about happening. Like you're.
Yeah. It's like some of the other games that are like just kind of like, you know, like Elden Ring. That was one that like, you know, I don't see myself streaming that. I enjoyed the game, but it's like I beat it twice, I think, with 2 different style characters, and then I was just kind of done. Like those games are like overly difficult for no reason. I think that video games should be accessible to like pretty much anyone, right? Like I think that you shouldn't have to be a fucking genius to play a video game.
Yeah, for the most part.
And Elden Ring, it's like if you're not kind of smart, you're gonna just die over and even for me, like I'm an avid video game enthusiast, right? I got stuck on one boss for like a month and a half, dude. A month and a half of one of like just fighting over and over and over and over and over again, and then like I would fight him like 30 times and then be like, okay, fuck this,
It's
and
not
like I'm leaving again.
intuitive, like you kind of know what to do next kind of game.
No, there's no you don't know what to do at all.
Yeah.
From the beginning.
You're just winging it.
Yeah, you just kind of like the only reason I was able to do what I did in that game was because of YouTube videos. Seriously. Like,
see, that's interesting. What if you had tried to play it without the YouTube? You think it wouldn't be done still?
Oh no, not even a little
That's
bit.
crazy.
Yeah, no, it's super like
Someone had to go first and figure this shit out.
yeah, for sure. I mean, but these were people who played like FromSoft is the company who did it. These are people who played that
Like
those
beta
games.
testers and
Not just that, but like the people who played like the Dark Souls series, Bloodborne.
Yeah.
Those are all games that are the exact same as Elden Ring, but Elden Ring just took all of the good things and just made them a little bit better, you know?
So talking about games, man. So if like when you're like 55 or something, if they come up with like a game and it's like Sword Art Online, right? It's like
I'm going in.
you die in game.
I'm
bro.
going in.
You're going in.
Fuck
bro.
yeah.
You're going the
Fuck
fuck in.
yeah.
It microwaves your fucking brain.
I don't give a fuck. Give me the
Kids
cancer.
of- kids
Give me
of
the
adults,
cancer, baby.
They have their family now.
Yeah,
or
fuck
whatever.
that.
You're
Yeah.
like,
I'm 50, dude.
good.
I don't give a
No
fuck. Yeah.
responsibility.
I don't give a shit, dude. We're fucking going in.
What are you like life insurance for Lauren and just like
Yeah,
this
bro.
is what it is?
Yeah, fry my shit, baby. You know what I'm saying? If I get to embody like Sword Art Online, dude,
That'd be
or like
sick,
dot
right?
hack, yeah, like I'm
That'd be
fucking
sick.
in there, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it would depend on where I'm at in life, but it would probably be like inevitable where I'm at in life that I would go in. Especially if I got to like, if I'm like an older man and like, you know, my body's starting to fail in me, and I hope to remain fit for a long time into life, right? But eventually it's like, you know, we all go out, right? So it's like if I'm in my 80s or 90s and it's like I'm cognitively all still there, but I just can't like, you know, can't get it like I used to. And then this game comes out where I'm like, I'm going to be like just as fit as
Like Ready Player One.
an 18-year-old. Yeah, like Ready Player One. I'm in, bro. But yeah, but Ready Player One, you don't die in game.
Right.
That's a whole new twist, bro. You die in game. Did you see that? Like there was some meme or article where one of the creators, for some, it was the Meta. I think it was one of the creators or engineers or something
for like Facebook
for
Meta?
Facebook Meta.
Yeah.
Yeah, he like engineered an actual like virtual reality helmet that like kills you. And I think it used a
It's kind of dark.
I think it used like an air piston that they used to kill cows, and it's just like poof.
Jesus Christ.
And so it's like it would actually kill you in game when
It's
you
like assisted
like,
suicide, bro.
whoa.
Holy shit.
Yeah,
don't
it's pretty
give that to people with depression. You know what I mean?
Oh, dude.
Like,
dude.
what the fuck?
That's talking about assisted suicide, man. I think it was Switzerland or something. I read this like 6 months ago. They were like creating these like you could just walk into them. I think you had to go to like counseling, but it was like these like
euthanasia chambers.
Yeah, it was like a porta potty, but like a suicide chamber.
Have you ever seen
what?
Have you ever seen that show? What is it fucking called? Futurama?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so there's an episode where Bender walks into one, and he's a fucking robot, first of all. And second of all, like, he, like, clicks a thing, and it asks, like, how he wants to die, and he clicks a thing, and it's like, oh, genital mutilation or some shit like that. And it, like, brings out, like, these saws and just starts sawing him apart. I was like, what the fuck? That's kind of cool. Like, you get to choose how you go. Fuck it.
That's wild, bro.
It's, like, the best case scenario, right? Like, gun to your head, how you want to die. Like, gun to my head, you know what I mean? Fuck it.
I mean, if I have to go out, I'm going to pick something awesome, something crazy, blaze of glory, like a skydiving incident gone wrong, you know?
He, like, nose dove into another plane.
Right.
Brought that motherfucker down, too.
I don't know, man. Something crazy, dude.
I don't know how I would want to die. I think I would want to die of natural causes.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe, but I'm saying like it's like, oh, you have to die early, and you have a week, and you know when you're gonna die and everything.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's like you might as well. That's what I'm like.
Yeah, I would.
Like I'm gonna like, I don't know, go get like a couple like tons of cocaine and try to like fly it over the border for my family for money, and just like go out and, like the CIA shoots me down. I'm like, I don't know, something wild.
Like trying to get 5 stars in GTA. Like, like just go out in a blaze of
That'd be
fucking
hard,
glory.
bro. Go rent like a Bugatti for the day and just, I'm gonna go out doing 250, bro.
Damn. Paul Walker, those motherfuckers.
Huh?
I said Paul Walker, those motherfuckers.
Paul Walker, baby.
Damn. R.I.P.
R.I.P. baby. R.I.P.
Yeah, dude. I don't know how I'd want to go out, dude. That's a good question, I think.
I mean, obviously, natural causes is like the vanilla, like nice.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to just like
Go to sleep
one
and
night
not wake up.
Yeah, but that's what everyone wants. You know, like what are the chances?
See, I'm not scared of dying. I'm scared of how I'm gonna die. I just don't want to like. I don't want to like hurt too bad. I guess like I'm not a big. You know, I don't want to hurt too bad. Also, I'm worried about what it would do to like the people around me. That's why like I'd never considered like suicide and shit like that. It's like, it's not like me that I'm worried about. It's like how it would affect the people around me, because I have, you know, besides just my daughter and my wife, like I have a very good group of friends who, you know, I think life would be a little bit more difficult without me in it, especially for like Andrew, Derek, you know, it's like people I grew up with that are my brothers
100%.
that,
Yeah.
you know, their mom fucking raised me.
It's
So
good to have people depending on you.
Yeah.
You know, it gives that sense of you know, purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need that. We need that as people in general, and especially as you know, young adult men. I think it's important to feel needed. You know, for sure. Yeah, for sure, man. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. You know, I don't think I could ever do anything like that. You know?
Yeah. Don't get me wrong, man. I've been there, thought about it. Like when I was a kid, you know, I went through a lot of stupid shit, and it's like
I've gotten to the place where it's like, oh, I know why people have gone here.
Right.
Like, I understand why.
Exactly.
I've gotten that, you know, that like really bad heartbreak or something, or you know, family situation. So I do get it. Like I've gotten to the dark place where it's like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
I see. Like I see if someone gets here, like how they would entertain this. But it was just never in my bones to even consider it.
Right.
But talking about death, man, you know, I think there was like a movie or a season or a book or something. It's like, you know, they say, you know, and it kind of rung true. It seemed it was like death's never pretty. You know, like it's
true.
It's gonna be shitty, and it's gonna suck, and it's gonna be awful, and you know, that's what I think most of us can expect. Pretty rough. You know, it's just gonna be, you know, organ failure or cancer, or you know, it's like a car wreck in your elder years, or
Right.
you know, I mean. And that's why you have to develop yourself to be a strong person, that when that time comes, you can kind of handle it in a noble way, I think.
I agree. I think you know, however you act in the face of adversity, it says a lot about who you are as a person and what you are capable of and what you can handle. And you know, going through the hard times that I've been through, I think that it's it's grown me in a way. Like I'm glad. Like did it suck? Yeah, right. But I'm glad that I went through some of the things that I did, because now I'm like more capable of handling things under pressure, or like when emergencies happen, it's a little bit easier for me to like jump to and say, okay, I need to do this and this and this real quick before this person like dies or something.
Right.
You know, one story that's kind of crazy, dude. One time when I worked at Dave & Buster's, I will never forget this. I was working at Dave & Buster's with Darius, and
Oh, Darius.
Oh, Darius.
Oh, Darius.
Darius, if you watch this, I miss you, bro. Love you.
I know, dude. Miss you too. We should talk about Darius. He's never gonna watch this.
Yeah. So I'm at Dave & Buster's, dude, and me and Darius are working together, and there was like this white kid, and he was like talking to his table. I know. What can you do? Can't live with him. Can't live without him.
I know, man.
But he was talking to his table. Everything seemed normal, and I like turned back, and he did like this weird like spin. And I thought he was just like dancing to the music or something, walking away from his table. And then I looked at him, and his eyes were in like the back of his head, and he just starts like, going backwards. And so I fucking jumped out and I caught it. And I caught his head right before it smashed into our ground. And he's like full on seizuring, bro. And so I fucking look at the table right next to him, like, give me your fucking spoon. And I get him on his side. I get the spoon. I stick it in his mouth so he doesn't like bite off his tongue. And he's just fucking seizing. I look at Darius, and Darius is just like, he's like frozen. And I'm like, go get help. And he just sprints off. And, we were able to like, I kind of saved the kid's life. And it's like,
Yeah. How old was he, you think?
Early 20s. He was on drugs. Yeah, he was on Xanax, a lot of Xanax. So
It's weird how it's almost always like the prescription stuff.
yeah, wow, yeah, who'd have thought?
The window drugs.
Yeah, who'd have thought?
Yeah.
But shame on me for smoking a little bit of weed.
I know. You piece of crap.
I know, I'm going to hell.
Um,
But that was a really crazy moment, and that's one of those things that I'm talking about, right? Like, I saw it happen, and without even having to think about it, I was able to react and just say, like,
some people feel it. I feel like some people have this and they don't. Like a lot of people just stand around and they're dumbfounded. And,
Yeah.
And there's a few people who like take action in the moment. And it's like, I don't know if you ever even know until you know.
until you know exactly.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I didn't fucking
Like
know.
you're an
Yeah,
action taker. So this makes me think of so during the heat of COVID, when they started rolling out vaccines, I was at this coffee shop in here in DFW, about to go on a mountain bike ride, and I love this owner of this. I don't love him, but I mean I just like him. He's a cool guy, and he's a little more progressive. And we talk about like crypto and all this interesting conversations. And you could have like back and forth conversation, and no one would get offended. And I mean we would disagree on things, and it would be fine. And he was an intelligent guy, and ran this like coffee shop and gelato bar, and and so this guy who he was clearly friends with had walked in one day, and I was sitting there, and I'd already got my coffee. I'm like preemptively getting caffeined up to go on my bike ride, and I'm doing a little reading. And this guy, he's like maybe in his late 30s or early 40s, not an old guy by any means. And he was bragging about getting his vaccine shot. And I was like, okay, that's fine. And then like as he's getting his coffee, he kind of goes pale a little bit, and then just goes stiff as a board. And I mean just, and like cracks his head. His head bounced on the ground. Fuck. And no one does anything.
They just sat there and stared at him.
Just sat there, and I had to go over, and I think he seized like a little bit, and I had to go over there and turn him onto his side, and I got like a pillow off one of the chairs, and no one was like doing anything. All these like very progressive people who had just been like, yeah, good for you, and and talking about vaccines, and I'd just been sitting there reading, like, whatever, it's fine, to each their own. If you want to go get it, that's fine. I sat there and I was just like, I was stunned. Like I ran over, I'd get on my knees. No one even wants to come near him, And it was just like, what the heck, And so, I was pre-med, I'd interned at a ER for a while. So I asked him, hey, have you had any medical procedures lately? Have you taken any medication, any drugs? And I just heard him talk about getting like the vaccine the day before or whatever. And he just sits there and was like, no, nothing. I haven't done anything. And I was just like,
like it doesn't even matter what vaccine it is. Like it can do stuff to you.
Vaccines can have bad reactions all the time. Even the
like
non
flu shots and shit can help you get
like
sick.
the thoroughly tested 10 years of research. Vaccines
right.
can have. I have my opinion on these gene therapies. I don't think they're vaccines. I think they're gene therapy.
Sure.
In the window of Anyway, we don't have to get into that. I don't want this to get pulled down. Me and Joseph talked about it a little bit, so I don't want to beat the dead horse. But yeah, no, it's you don't know until you know, and it was shocking, like all these people, all kind of like on the same tribe and sitting there, and then and then I clearly ran over there and like clearly have probably different views and more nuanced perceptions of things, and would maybe agree with some things and disagree on others, and I was the one kind of run over there, and it kind of like freaked me out. Like I was freaked out, but I still like I jumped over there and turned him on his side and eventually helped him up, but he was clearly shaken, and when I asked him on his medical, you could tell like, oh shit, like my thought was like, yeah, you know what you just got, man. Like, maybe you're having an adverse reaction, or again, these vaccines haven't exactly been thoroughly tested. We rolled them out very quickly. It's not a shot at it. It's just like we were in a hurry, so it's like, there's no telling, but it was still, it was crazy. His friend who was the owner just kind of stood there, and then all these people and these ladies, and just no one did anything, man. And I was shocked.
Yeah, that's crazy, dude. I don't know how you could just like stand there. It's like, I feel like everyone in their minds think that like in an emergency they'd be like the first one to jump up and do shit, but it's like most people probably wouldn't.
I don't know. I think a lot of people talk a big talk, but people do all this virtue signaling now and like talking about saying the right things, but I really want to, that's one of the reasons for this, is I really want to, because we never know how much time we have.
Right.
And I really want to be able to go, like, I tried to be, like, I tried to bring more good into the world, and I tried to be for light, for the side of light. And, I tried to, embody the best characteristics and, move with love and, with nobility and courage and honor, and make the world a better place,
For sure.
And that's really my intention with like this, is to have genuine good people on and talk about whatever we want to talk about. But, it's to try to add some good value, encourage success, generate creativity and new ideas, and promote my friends and family, and to just, give back and add value and find topics and subjects we can talk about that I think are going to like, hit home for people, and
right.
people are going to go, wow, I haven't thought of it that way, or that makes sense, or, so that's definitely, my intention of all of this. And, an incident like that will kind of leave you like, man, all these people saying they care, or this, that, and the other. It's like, man, a lot of them, I think a lot of people are saying things and influence people, and they just don't care.
I think they care when it benefits them.
Yeah, I think that's right.
I think a lot of people are very selfish. People are selfish, I think, by nature, a lot of times, and it's like, it's, when it's like fight or flight, like only you kind of matter in that moment. So it's like,
you see your real self sometimes come out.
I agree with that.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's a sad thing to think about, man. Like, I've helped a few people like a couple different times in like emergencies and like car accidents and things like that. There's been quite a few moments of my life where I've like put myself at risk to save a stranger.
Yeah.
One of those times, actually, I got a really cool scar from that. When I was a kid, dude, I was walking home from school, and I saw like a house had like smoke and shit coming out of it, and so I fucking ran up in there, dude, and like helped a little old lady get out and got her dog. Oh, wow. And yeah, dude, and my shirt caught on fire, so I have like this little scar right here that's like,
oh wow,
yeah. So that was
Was she the only one in there?
Yeah, it was like this little old lady.
What was on fire?
I have no idea. I didn't stick around.
As hell?
No, there was a fire. Yeah.
Oh, it was like all on fire.
Yeah, there was a fire.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And so I went in there, I just grabbed her and fucking got out. And, like, I didn't think anything of it. And then like, a couple of years later when I met Lauren, I was telling her that story, and she was like, "Oh wow, like you're a hero. You ran in there and you saved that woman's life." And I was like, "Huh?" I was like, "Nah. Like I just helped someone. It's like I'm not a fucking hero for that shit."
Yeah, I think we're all a mix of good and bad, but some people seem to have a more innate like sense of urgency to just respond in a certain way, to want to like help or protect or rescue. Yeah. I've always had a big desire, I grew up reading a lot of like romance novels and, young adult fiction and fantasy novels, and it really instilled, but there was always like deep down, even before then, like this desire to want to like be a hero, to help people,
right.
And to like, to like slay the dragon and save the beautiful girl, and like, there was always that like kind of like innate desire in me that I don't know where that comes from. I think a lot of guys have that though, like that desire to just like, I think a lot of people will judge that or say that's whatever, but yeah, that's the truth, honestly.
Yeah, I think I think that's where one of the problem lies too, is that sometimes it's a little hard to just be a man and like want to protect and provide. And like, I've been called sexist for wanting my wife to stay home and be a homemaker, but like,
Have you?
yeah. Oh. And it's like, that's what she wants to do. It's like, I'm not forcing her to do that. Yeah. If she wanted to have a career, I would support that too.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing about marriage is like you support your partner and continue to just grind it out with them. Relationships are not easy and they're not perfect, but like, you just continue to support and continue to show love and just do what you gotta do, man. Like, but I think it's like that's the problem, right? It's like everyone, like I said earlier, is like everyone is so sensitive to things that don't pertain to them. It's like, I've had people get offended for me for something someone else said, and it's like, dude, I don't give a shit. Yeah, like what the fuck? Yeah. I don't let anyone have that much control over my emotions. You know what I mean?
I think it says more about you than it does about someone else when you get overly offended about something.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think your mental fortitude and like your mindset is one of the few things you can control.
Yeah.
And if you can't maintain your composure, it says more about you than, if someone says something I disagree with, I actively work to not have like some like emotional knee-jerk reaction.
Right, dude. That's why like this whole wave of Karens has been like such a crazy fucking thing to see. It's like, how are you gonna act like that in public? First of all, like what did your parents teach you? You're just like yelling at a minimum wage cashier over some fucking spilt milk. Holy shit.
People talk about like white privilege or male privilege or the patriarchy. It's like, dude, if you live here in America, you're so sheltered from the struggles of, you can be on food stamps. You're still shitting and pissing in clean water. You know what I'm saying? It's like, dude, we live such a privileged lifestyle in this country that I think you don't have the experience to fall back on. What like a real hardship is.
I agree with that, man. I think half of these people wouldn't survive a fucking day in a third world country. No. My entire family comes from a third world country, and it's still like a pretty rough place to be. And my family thrives over there. Like they know what they're doing. They've been there forever.
Right.
Well, kind of.
Yeah, my fear is if we don't come together and focus on like the real important things and be able to agree on the major issues, that you're just going to see all of this kind of erode away, and we will wind up right back there,
right,
in that very difficult place.
For sure.
We'll see.
We shall see.
I hope not.
I hope not either, bro. I got a whole kid I need to take care of and shit.
Well, I'd say long term, I'm still positive.
Yeah,
I'm still positive.
Me too, man. I don't necessarily think that America's ever gonna like fully just disintegrate into itself.
It will eventually.
Yeah, but hopefully I'm fucking long gone by then, maybe 100, 200 years from now. Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah. Well, man.
Like great-great-grandkids, bro? Fuck them kids. They'll be all right.
That's funny, dude. Well, I'd really like to have you come back on again and get maybe a little more, a little wilder.
Sure.
I think this has been very, very good, but, I wanted to promote you, and I wanted to keep it, like YouTube friendly for the most part.
For sure.
And I think we've done a pretty good job of that.
I agree.
And I'm really excited for where you're headed with your streaming. And but yeah, maybe next time we'll maybe have a few drinks or smoke before or whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
Something even crazier, bro.
Yeah, dude.
Whoa.
Get some drinks in me. We're going to
get
canceled.
Yeah. Well, me and Joseph were good, but I was very, as the host, I made sure not to like
overdo it at all.
I slow sipped on my drink, but the vodka was good, man.
That Miss Addie's, bro. I'm telling you, is good, very fire.
Yeah, shout out to Wildacre Distillery.
Yeah, seriously,
make some fire stuff. But yeah, man. So Tahablast and
Tahablast on every platform you can think of except for probably
platform.
Spotify,
YouTube,
Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. I don't have a Facebook. I don't think I'm gonna make one either. Yeah,
it's old people like me.
Yeah.
I'll link all of those in the description once I do throw this up, and then yeah, man. Is there anything else you wanted to touch on before you get out of here?
No, but a quick shout out to my wife for holding it down and being a badass wife and a badass mother, and continuing to just be my rock and my support throughout the transition of becoming a content creator.
There you go.
And shout out Ongodd Podcast for having me on.
Let's go.
And I'll be back for way more.
Let's go, man. Let's go. Well, I appreciate that, and shout out to Lauren as well. Appreciate you letting him roll through. I know it's late, and you holding down the holding down the fort right now. So yeah, man. Well, good talk as always, brother.
Yeah,
I miss some of our old talks, man, when we used to cruise around and just get in deep talk. So hopefully more of those to come.
For sure.
And as you progress on your streaming and your gaming content, I hope to have you back on, and we'll talk more about that more. But definitely, as I kind of fill out this YouTube thing, I think as a new platform, I can get away with just anything because no one's watching this.
Yeah, it's not like you're monetizing.
Yeah, I'm not monetizing or anything. As I move forward, I'll have to kind of hash out what I can and can't say.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, I'm being very reserved, but I'd like to get really fucking wild at some point. And yeah, man, we'll see what the future holds.
Yeah, dude, I'm excited.
All right, brother. Well, hey, man, thanks for coming on.
Appreciate
my guy.
you, bro. Let's go.
Appreciate you, man. All right, guys. Well, hey, man, that's it. Thanks for tuning in. Again, I'm your host, Collin Steele, and this is the Ongodd Podcast. Shout out to my boy, Vince Chaco. He's the owner of the Post Office Studio. That's where we're at right now. Nice little music studio here in DFW, as well as owner of Super Suites. Again, Super Suites by Vince Chaco. It's kind of like a digital mailbox. You get a suite number, and all of your mail will be sent to that address, and then copies can be sent to you digitally, or it can be forwarded to you. And if you're trying to start like a digital business, Amazon business, something of that nature, and you would prefer to have like an actual physical address because sometimes that looks better. That's what he's offering is one of his services, as well as the music studio. So shout out to my boy Vince Chaco. And yeah, guys, thanks for tuning in, man. Taha, thanks again, brother. I appreciate you.
God, brother.
Boy.
God.
On God. All right, guys. Well, yeah, y'all hold it down, and we'll see y'all next time.
See you next time.
All right, later.